Okay, so Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and very good morning to everyone. My name is Normi, Siti Normi Alia. So I'm going to teach you, I'm going to be the class instructor for the DCE5933. Okay, so I'm teaching the course in campus and off campus as well, both PJJ and in campus, and then even for undergraduate student. So probably we have a ice breaking session. So at least I got to know everybody in my class lah. So shall we start with Ashikin? Ashikin dulu lah. Okay, you may introduce your name, a little bit regarding your background, your career probably. Okay, where are you staying? Okay, and then what is your expectation on the class? Ashikin? Ada Ashikin? Ashikin Mansur. Tak ada. Next one. Luqmanul Hakim. Luqman Al-Hakim.
Ada, Doktor.
Can I see your face at least for the first time? Kalaupun tak tahu for the last ke, kan tak nak buka turn on the video tu ha. Okay. Ni tahulah tak mandi lagi ni. Sebab
Dah, Doktor.
early. I requested the class to be at 9 tapi sebab you all ada kelas lain pukul 11. Okay.
Okay, Doktor. Assalamualaikum. Okay. Assalamualaikum and good morning. Nama saya Luqman Al-Hakim bin Muhammad Noor, berumur 31 tahun. Background saya sebelum ni ialah Bachelor of Communication Journalism. And now saya bekerja sekarang di UPM.
Di mana?
UCTC UPM. UCTC
UTM.
Ya.
Skudai or in KL?
Sedang UPM.
UPM or UTM?
UPM, Doktor.
UPM. Okay. So staff kita lah ni.
Okay.
Okay.
Sekarang saya tinggal di Putrajaya.
Putrajaya. Okay, are you married? Already got kids? How many kids?
Single.
Single lagi, single and available. Okay. Okay, so thank you Luqmanul Hakim. InsyaAllah. Nanti kenapa tak apply in campus? Dah mute dah?
Oh, saya better part time kot.
Prefer part time. Okay, tak apa. Okay, thank you. Okay, next one Era Yusri. Era Yusri.
Assalamualaikum.
Alah, boleh tengok muka?
Sorry bro, saya tak pakai tudung lagi.
Okay, tapi nanti at least bolehlah tengok sekali so saya cam.
Boleh. Sorry sangat-sangat saya tak ready.
Tak apa.
Okay, nak kena perkenalkan diri ke?
Yeah, briefly introduce ourselves lah. Sikit je.
Alright, nama saya Nur Era Efarina, boleh panggil saya Era. Sekarang saya bekerja sebagai HR dekat company fisioterapi dekat Bani.
Okay. Married or still single?
Still single, tapi tak available.
Okay. Yang lagi lah ni. Okay, kita ada orang daripada HR. Okay, thank you Era. Okay, Nur Ashikin? Tak ada. Nur Ashikin tak ada lagi? Tak ada.
Ada.
Boleh turn on the video, nak tengok sikit. Kalau tak tengok, bila lagi nak jumpa? Okay.
Assalamualaikum, selamat pagi.
Assalamualaikum.
Saya Nur Ashikin Mansur. Okay, bertugas di Lembaga Minyak Sawit Malaysia sebagai seorang sekretari. Okay, di bahagian lembaga di bahagian pendidikan pembangunan pekebun kecil. Okay, mungkin doktor sedia maklum kot ada senior-senior saya yang pernah
ada yang pernah ambil kelas ni apa dia punya feedback?
Sorry?
Apa dia orang punya feedback yang ambil kelas ni?
Okay. Dia sentiasa dia cakap doktor bagus lah.
Oh, alhamdulillah.
Cuma saya the last sem lah ambil subjek doktor.
Final sem This is your final sem?
Saya dengan Era.
Oh, Alhamdulillah, towards the end already. Alhamdulillah.
Okay.
Thank you for attending the class. But kelas ni elective, tak ramai yang nak. Okay. Are you married, Ashikin? Married?
Yes.
Married.
I got one child.
One kid. One kid.
One kid.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Terima kasih.
Okay, next one Rabiatul Adawiyah. Ada? Rabiatul Adawiyah. Ya Allah, nampak hijau je Rabiatul Adawiyah. Hijau je backgroundnya dengan muka-muka hijau.
Kejap.
Kena tukar setting balik. Tu cantik dah. Cantik je background dia.
Okay, Assalamualaikum dan selamat pagi doktor dan kawan-kawan. Boleh jelas dengar ke suara saya?
Dengar.
Ya, nama saya Rabiatul Adawiyah, binti Ahmad Safidin, boleh panggil Adawiyah. Umur 25 tahun. Bekerja sebagai HRZ di Interactionist Construction Sdn Bhd. Berasal daripada Kelang. Tinggal dekat Kelang.
Tinggal kat Kelang. Single lagi? Okay, single. Okay. Thank you Rabiatul Adawiyah. Okay, next one. Ramai juga. Yusmaliza. Okay. 8 orang cukup lah. Yusmaliza. Ada Yusmaliza? Assalamualaikum.
Saya Yusmaliza binti Mak Yusof. Saya sekarang bekerja di bahagian operation private sector lah, warehouse Giant di Kajang.
Giant Kajang. Okay. Okay. Married?
Single lagi.
Single lagi. Where are you staying? Kajang juga?
Bangi. Kerja kat Banjar lah, akan duduk kat Bangi.
Okay. Thank you.
So hari ni bekerja pun join kelas lah.
Tak apa, insyaAllah I will record the session. InsyaAllah I will share later kalau ada yang termiss. InsyaAllah I will share the session later. Okay?
Saya macam swasta, dia satu hati kerja jugalah.
Faham. Tak apa. Okay. Thank you, Yus.
Terima kasih.
Thank you. Next one. Muaz ni siapa nama penuh dia? Muaz.
Assalamualaikum doktor.
Aku memang nama dia Muaz ke apa?
Tak, nama doktor, saya Muhammad Azizul bin Ibrahim.
Muhammad Azizul bin Ibrahim. Muaz. Okay. Muhammad Azizul bin Ibrahim. Azizul ya, Azizul.
Ya betul.
Sekarang ni
sekarang ni saya bekerja di Jabatan Kebajikan Masyarakat JKM.
Okey, kat mana tu?
Dekat Kelang.
Kelang, ramai orang Kelang, 2 orang Kelang ni. Okey.
Tapi menetap di Putrajaya doktor.
Menetap di Putrajaya. So dekat kementerian mana tu?
Kementerian Pembangunan Wanita. Di bawah
Kementerian
Kementerian Pembangunan Wanita, kalau ikutkan di bawah JKM lah, Jabatan Kebajikan Masyarakat, Department of Social Welfare.
I see. Okay. Single or still married? Or married?
Married doktor.
Married. How many kids do you have at home?
Belum ada doktor, baru kahwin.
Belum ada. Okay, it's okay. Okay, Alhamdulillah. Okay, thank you Azizul.
Terima kasih doktor.
Okay, next one we have Stephen. Apa nama dia penuh ni? Hi Stephen Mohan.
Madam. My name is Stephen Mohan Raj, madam. I am working as a HR officer at Takashima Woodworks.
Okay, Takashima. Where is the company located?
Lahat, Ipoh.
Okay. Okay, are you married?
No, I'm single, madam.
Single. Okay, single and available. Okay, thank you, Stephen.
Okay, thank you, madam.
Thank you. Okay, Kausalya. Oh, dia gelap pula. Can I see your face? Kausalya? Mute.
Hi, I'm Kausalya. Currently working at Putrajaya in KDN.
KDN.
Yeah. And I'm from Ipoh actually. My hometown is Ipoh.
Okay.
I'm working as an enforcement officer.
Enforcement officer.
Yes.
Okay. Mana kau saya tadi?
Ada.
Okay. Married? Are you married?
No, I'm still single.
Single. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Kausalya. Anything you want to add?
That's all I think so.
Okay. Malu-malu lagi awal-awal ni. Tak apa. Thank you so much. Okay. Louis CK. Louis, are you there?
Yes.
Can I see your face?
Hi. Hi, Doctor. Can you see me?
Hi, Louis.
Hi. Hi, Doctor. My name is Lee Siki. So currently working as a customer service lah. Actually, my background is Bachelor in Science Food Technology. But after that, I just changed the environment. So
Why you change, Louis?
Because after graduate, it's quite hard to find a job like in the industry lah, because of them need to like experience, and they didn't want fresh grade. So I have had a hard time to find a job during MCO at the time. So after that, I changed my industry to customer service. So now decided to continue study lah, for further study in HR.
If I may ask, why HR?
Because honestly to say, the fee is cheaper a bit than MBA lah, and then maybe in future I will become like admin or management, so decided to study in HR.
Okay, hopefully it is the best decision for you, inshallah. Okay, thank you, Louis. Are you married, by the way? Last question.
No, maybe this year.
Yeah, okay. Okay, congratulations in advance. Okay, okay, thank you, Louis. Okay, thank you, guys. Okay, thank you so much for the brief introduction regarding yourself. Okay, I have my own reason why I asked your status. It's not for the personal purpose. It just it is related to our topic. Okay, so it is related to our topic. Whatever status that we are, tak kira apa status kita, sebenarnya dia mempengaruhi the conflict role that we have at our home and even at our workplace. Okay, dia berkait. Okay, so I at least know regarding a little bit regarding your background. Okay, so kita move on to our assignment dulu. Boleh? I'll explain regarding our assignment before we proceed with our first topic. Okay, so make sure you are in the right class. I'm sure that some of you are not yet sure regarding your registration. Saya buka Putra ODL tadi pun masih kosong lagi, so maybe still under still under construction lah kot, dia punya website tu. You all boleh tengok dekat Putra ODL, right? All the lecture notes and so on, right? Betul ke tak?
Betul, Doktor. Cuma masa ni kami belum dapat nombor matrix dan lain-lain lagi.
Oh, okay.
Yang baru.
Sebab baru semester baru.
Betul, Doktor.
Okay. Okay, so this is my details regarding myself. Okay, so this is my office is G21, Block H, Department of Professional Development and Continuing Education, Faculty of Educational Studies. If you have time, then you may visit me at the office lah. Inshallah, I will be there during working hours. Okay. Then this is my phone number, and then for my handphone, then you can take my handphone number from our group WhatsApp lah. Okay, and then this is my email. Okay, and then this is my official email, and then this is my personal email. But later on, for the submission of assignment, I'm going to use this email, the Gmail. Okay, but I will explain later how you should submit your exam. Okay. Okay, so this is the grading structure for our class. Okay. Total 100 points, 30 points will go to our conflict management skill assignment, which is in group. So assignment kita semua dalam group. So kita ada berapa orang tadi dalam WhatsApp tadi ada 7. Okay, sekarang kini kita ada 10. So 10 maybe kita akan ada 3 group. 4, 4, 3. 4, 8, 4, 4 tu tak boleh tak. 3, 3, 3, 3, 4. 3, 3, 4. Okay, kita akan ada 3 kumpulan. Nanti in terms of group, you all pilihlah group member masing-masing. Kalau boleh 3, 3, 4. Lagi satu group tu 4. Okay. Dan assignment kedua adalah 40 markah, which is belongs to our applied conflict assignment group. Okay, lagi 30 ni untuk kita punya final exam. Okay, final exam ni nanti kita decide macam mana, sama ada nak take home ataupun nak online. Mana yang you all prefer, take home ataupun online? 3 hours.
Online.
Take home online. Dua-dua dia nak. Yang online tu
Prefer take home, doktor.
Take home. Okay, so I maintain
Sebab kerja kan.
Sebab kerja. Okay. So I maintain as take home lah. Okay, this is in terms of your final grading. Ini grade. This is just the guideline I already share with everyone in our group WhatsApp. Okay. All of this assignment will be submitted electronically through Dropbox. Okay, kena submit melalui Dropbox. Nanti saya bagi tahu macam mana you all boleh submit melalui Dropbox. Okay, so all the assignment submission saya dah tak guna email. Okay, all submission ni through Dropbox sebab biasanya sangat mudah dan sangat menyenangkan, particularly for those who work as an HR officer. Kan, kerja kita bila kita kerja sebagai HR officer ni, kerja kita nak memudahkan orang. Then this is the best option that I can offer to everyone. Okay, so details explanation regarding our assignment. For the first assignment, 30 points for conflict management skill assignment ni. Okay, the goal of this assignment is to develop skills in conflict management in the context that is of interest to you. Just now tadi kita ada kawan kita yang daripada Jabatan Kebajikan Masyarakat, which the conflict that he may face related to community. Ada yang bekerja sebagai HR, in which the conflict that he or she face daily probably related to employment disputes. Okay, anything that happen in the workplace. Okay, ada juga. Okay, the conflict, all of us for sure will face the conflict related to family. Kita tak kira lah perebutan harta pusaka dengan adik-beradik, for example. Okay, ataupun just fight for tools with adik-beradik, perebutan tanah ke dengan adik-beradik, anything related to family. Okay, so you may choose any conflict that is related to the conflict that is of interest to you. You boleh pilih mana-mana, which is family, which can be organization, which can be government. Governing, for example, between the government lah, 2 countries ke, or the international conflict, for example, between Ukraine and Russia that currently happening. Okay, in a group of 3 or 4 students per group. Okay, so you may freely choose your group member. Okay, pilih betul-betul group member kita. Tapi pilihlah semua sama je. Okay, and then for this assignment, you may select one from the given 2 option. So ada 2 pilihan, sama ada you all nak prepare negotiation role play video or mediation role play video. Ada 2 option. Okay, so dia punya instruction, you need to prepare a less than 5 minutes video on best practice negotiation skills in the context that is of interest to you, either family, organization, government, or international, or and so on, and upload them through at YouTube. Sekarang ni saya rasa guna YouTube lah untuk you all, kita pakai YouTube. Okay, saya tak ada account TikTok, so tak boleh nak upload kat TikTok. Okay, so following this exercise, you will write a 2 to 3 pages reaction paper analyzing the negotiation process, its impact on the conflict, and implication for practice or future research. Okay, so this belongs to group assignment. Okay, so in terms of the marking structure for the first assignment, 2 points will be given after you submit 1 paragraph summary describing the conflict your group would like to address. Okay, instructor, I will review and okay each topic. If a topic is deemed unsuitable for the assignment, students may be asked to modify their chosen topic. You submit je. Betul ke salah, you all akan dapat 2 marks. Okay, betul. Yang penting submit. Okay, based on the submission, then I will review either you can proceed or not with that topic. Okay, and then 23 points will be given after you produce a less than 5 minutes video on best practice. Kalau boleh less than 5 minutes lah cuba, tapi kalau boleh jangan panjang sangat. Okay, the best practice negotiation skills in the context that is of interest to you. Samalah yang ni Okay, and then upload them through YouTube. Okay, marks will be given based on content. Content of your video tu will contribute to 13 marks. Content. Okay, and then quality of the video 5 marks. And then you include description because we are discussing about the best practice of negotiation. So when you are negotiating a term with your staff or with your employee, for example. So what are the techniques that you are applying? So teknik yang you guna tu, then you include the description. Kalau nak masuk subtitle tu, it's an optional lah. Kalau you buat dalam, okay, the video ni can be in Malay or can be in English, up to you. Okay, because I know that we are all Malaysian, then we can understand both languages lah. Okay, mana-mana boleh. Acceptable And then include description ni as what I said lah. Kalau you guna teknik listening, okay, you listen, okay, or empathy, okay, you all letak description tu. Apa teknik yang you all gunakan during the negotiation so that you can win that negotiation session. Okay, and then 5 points will be given after you submit a 2 to 3 pages reaction paper analyzing the negotiation process, its impact on the conflict and implication for practice or future research. Only this one je. Okay, 5 point ni belongs to individual assignment. So meaning to say, you need to prepare 2 types of folder. One is for group folder to submit all this assignment. The second one is individual folder. Okay, later on I will briefly explain to you how you can prepare these 2 types of folder. Okay, next one. Okay, the second option, mediation role play. In terms of the instruction, it is similar. Just this one negotiation, the second one is mediation. Okay, mediation ni, negotiation ni we resolve the conflict between the conflicting party. The conflict resolution involve the conflicting party without the third party. Maksudnya kita sendiri yang cuba selesaikan konflik yang kita hadapi tu bersama dengan pihak lagi satu, our opponent. Okay, meanwhile the mediation ni dia merupakan konflik yang diselesaikan melalui pihak ketiga, which is mediator. Dan mediator ni, untuk menjadi mediator ni dia kena ada kriteria dia yang tertentu lah, in which knowledgeable. One of it is knowledgeable within the area. HR officer pun boleh jadi mediator dalam organisasi. Okay. Okay, so in terms of pembahagian markah sama. After you submit 1 paragraph summary, you will automatically be given 2 marks, 2 markah. Then I will check either you can proceed or not with that topic. Okay, and then 23 points will be given based on the following structure. Okay, 13 marks for the content of your video, 5 marks for the quality, and then 5 marks for description. Okay, and then 5 points will be given to individual member after you submit 2 to 3 pages reaction paper. Okay, which should include the analysis of the negotiation process, its impact on the conflict, and implication for practice or future research. Okay, you includekan 3 elemen ni je dalam you all punya reaction paper. Tak panjang, 2 hingga 3 pages saja. Okay, any questions so far? Ada soalan nak tanya? Okay, clear Next one, 40.
Sorry, Doktor.
Yes.
Just ada apa ada yang membezakan secara jelas tak berkaitan dengan mediation dengan negotiation tu? Apa benda yang membezakan secara direct ni?
Apa yang membezakan? Okay, apa yang membezakan secara direct adalah parties involved in the conflict resolution. Both negotiation and mediation ni ada conflict resolution strategy. Maksudnya dua-dua, negotiation dengan mediation ni adalah strategi yang kita boleh gunakan untuk menyelesaikan konflik. Cuma dalam negotiation ni kita resolve konflik directly dengan opponent kita. For example, Azizul ada konflik dengan Stephen contohnya. Then you directly meet Stephen to resolve your conflict, to discuss and resolve your conflict. But in mediation, okay, after if let's say your conflict with Stephen, you cannot resolve directly between you. Then you have to use the third party. So for example, okay, the conflict between Siti Nurdiana and Shura and the team last time, kalau you all read the news, so melibatkan saman 1 juta. So salah satu third party yang digunakan adalah legal. Third party. Tapi ini legal lah, nanti kita akan belajar jenis-jenis dia. Mediation ni dia belum sampai ke tahap legal. Dia ada beberapa stage lah. Okay, litigation. Litigation ni kalau boleh the final option. Kalau boleh sebelum kita proceed with legal ni, kita proceed dulu dengan mediation. Sebab mediation ni dia hanya melibatkan orang ketiga. Orang ketiga ni orang yang sangat berpengalaman, yang ada knowledge dalam bidang konflik. Contohnya konflik yang berlaku tu melibatkan konflik fitnah contohnya. So orang ketiga ni boleh jadi orang profesional, okay, yang boleh cari alternatif untuk kedua-dua parti ni, kedua-dua pihak ni untuk menyelesaikan konflik tu tanpa perlu pergi ke mahkamah. Dia adalah orang pihak ketiga. Dan pihak ketiga ni kalau boleh bukanlah daripada saudara mara kita. Okey? Maksudnya mediation ni dia melibatkan penyelesaian konflik yang melibatkan orang ketiga. Kita gunakan khidmat orang ketiga. Tapi negotiation ni kita hanya melibatkan 2 orang je. Konflik tu diselesaikan antara kita dengan pihak lagi satu. Contohnya kita gaduh dengan jiran kita, then we personally meet our neighbor to mention to him, to explain to him what are the dissatisfaction that we have. Dia tak puas hati apa, dan kita deal directly with our neighbor. Dan bila kita nak jumpa dengan neighbor kita tu, kita kena ada teknik negotiation lah kita guna. Tak boleh lah kita jumpa tu marah-marah. Contohnya ada, let's say kita tak puas hati dengan bunyi anjing jiran kita. Kita tak puas hati bila dia gunakan dia gunakan muzik yang terlalu kuat. Contohnya. So ada teknik yang kita boleh gunakan supaya dia konflik yang kita ada tu tidak lead to another conflict. Okay, kalau mediation ni kita gunakan khidmat orang ketiga. Okay, nanti saya akan explain apa kriteria mediator ni. Boleh? Azizul? So far boleh?
Okay, boleh Doktor.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, so any other question regarding our first assignment? Tanya sampai you all faham, betul-betul faham. Ada Okay, the second assignment, which is 40% applied conflict assignment. Okay. So this one, in order to develop skills in conflict assessment. Okay, so bila kita nampak konflik tu, kita nak kena tahu, kita nak kena assess dulu. Sama macam you all akan attend class training nanti. Training sebelum kita dah identify training apa yang sesuai, dan kita kena assess dulu the needs. So sama dalam konflik, kita kena analysis dulu. Kena assess dulu punca konflik ni. Okay, so group assignment group yang sama daripada group atas. Okay, 3 to 4 students per group will be responsible for conducting an assessment of a conflict of their choice. Yang tadi you prepare video, yang ni pula kita pilih satu topik dan kita assess. Okay, and then in consultation with the instructor. So ideally students will select an interpersonal, family, local community, local community, international conflict in which they conduct direct field research through gathering background data and interviewing key parties or interveners. Okay, you all kena buat sedikit research lah kat bahagian ni. Okay, research jangan imagine research yang susah tu, dia simple sahaja. Okay, in terms of the grading, 2 points will be given after you submit 1 paragraph summary describing the conflict that your group would like to address. So, this one ni dia boleh jadi sama dengan the first assignment. Dia boleh jadi sama Boleh jadi sama dengan first assignment. Kalau you all pilih yang atas tu, for example, conflict related to family contohnya. So then you can use the same option here. Okay, boleh guna pilihan yang sama. Okay, and then 23 point will be given after you produce a report that is 10 to 15 pages long. So the paper should provide a brief summary. Summary ni referring to these 2 points. Okay, summary of the conflict, a conflict analysis mapping. So mapping ni I will share later the techniques how to map the conflict. Okay, key parties and their underlying needs and interests, a description of the conflict dynamics to date, and a proposed conflict intervention strategy. Okay, so you are going to prepare the brief summary of the conflict so that I understand or understood your studied phenomenon. Okay, and then you prepare the conflict analysis mapping based on any chosen techniques, any chosen model. Okay, and then their underlying needs and interest. Maksudnya needs of each party. So dalam bila you all prepare the mapping, the conflict mapping ni, kita akan identify the parties involved in the conflict, and then later on kita akan identify apakah keperluan, apakah needs ataupun niat orang-orang yang dalam konflik ni. Macam contoh Siti Nurdiana, so apa niat dia? Syura, apa niat dia? So kita akan analisis. So how to get the analysis, how to get the information, then you need to conduct the interview if necessary. Kita kena jumpa orang tu. Okay, kalau yang macam contoh Azizo bekerja dekat JKM ni, so probably dia ada konteks dia sendiri, so then you can conduct the interview with your conflicting parties ni. Okay, and then the dynamic, conflict dynamic ni, apakah perubahan? Contohnya konflik ni boleh diselesaikan dalam tempoh 2 tahun contohnya. Okay, so dalam tempoh 2 tahun ni daripada tahun 2021 contohnya, 2021 sampai 2022. Okay, so macam mana interest ke semua pihak yang terbabit dengan konflik ni boleh berubah sehinggalah penghujung tahun 2022. Dinamik ni dia akan tengok perubahan. So contoh saya bagi dalam kes perceraian contohnya. Perceraian pasangan pasangan. Di awal kes ni disebut di mahkamah contohnya. So the interest of the party maybe wife dia adalah untuk menuntut harta sepencarian dan juga hak-hak penjagaan anak-anak. Contohnya first dia kata dia nak tuntut harta sepencarian, lagi satu dia nak tuntut hak penjagaan anak-anak. So 2. Okay, tapi along the way is it the interest similar or change? Boleh jadi sebenarnya isteri ni, bekas isteri ni, apa yang nak dituntut bukanlah hak sepencarian, tapi rasa puas bila dia rasa dia dapat kenakan bekas suami dia. So dia ada the changes tu. Sebenarnya dia bukan nak sangat pun harta sepencarian tu, but when she win the case, she's satisfied. She feels satisfied. Sebenarnya bila kita bring the case to the court, kita akan dapat banyak pun pampasan. Betul tak? Kalau kita request for 1 million contohnya, kita tak akan dapat pun 1 million tu. Kadang-kadang kita dapat 50,000. Dan the cost yang kita bayar, guaman tu sebenarnya lagi mahal daripada yang kita dapat. We waste the time, we waste the money. 2 years. 2 years tu singkat tu. Kadang-kadang dia boleh jadi 5-6 tahun. Okay? So you observe the changes within that time frame. Okay? And then a proposed conflict intervention strategy. So kalau let's say the case tu dah dibawa ke mahkamah, dan kalau you sebagai advisor to those parties, so what can you advise to related to the suitable strategy so that the 2 parties can resolve their conflict harmoniously? Kan? Ingat, kalau kita bring the case to the court, sebenarnya we have no intention to have long-term relationship with that party. Maksudnya sebelum ni kalau kita jadi best friend, sebelum ni, tapi bila kita dah bawa kes tu ke mahkamah, lepas habis settle kes mahkamah tu, sebenarnya segan untuk kita jumpa dan tegur balik kawan tu. So we do not have any intention to maintain our long-term relationship with that party. Okay? Okay, and then okay, so in the paper, students should reference and interrogate relevant concepts, theory and models from class and other outside sources. Okay, so dalam kelas kita akan discuss berkenaan dengan konsep-konsep yang berkaitan teori dan model. Okay, yang boleh menerangkan kenapa sesuatu konflik itu boleh terjadi. Okay, and then students must utilize at least 2 conflict analysis tools in the paper. Nanti saya akan share juga apakah tools, analysis tools yang ada untuk kita analisis konflik. Okay. Okay, so another 5 points will be given after you submit a self-report outlining their contributions to the group paper. So this one based on individual, individual. So means that you need to locate this file in your individual folder. Okay, yang ni yang self-report ni saya yang akan masukkan the template in your folder. The template will be prepared in your individual folder. Your tugas you all just prepare the individual folder. Nanti saya akan tunjuk macam mana dia punya template. Okay, and then you need to outline your contribution toward your group. Okay, mana tadi? Okay, and then based on the self-assessed grade, each individual's evaluation of their own contribution and feedback from other group members. The instructor will assess an individual grade for the paper to each student. Okay, this grade can range from 1 to 5 points. This will be the method for ensuring that each individual's contributions is fairly considered for this group project submission. Saya nak make sure tak ada free rider dalam you all punya group. Nak make sure that semua orang contribute. Okay, so kita akan tengok your individual contribution ni bila kawan kita yang bagi markah kat kita. Okay, and then 10 points will be given for group presentation. Yang ni saya risau sikit. Kita sempat ke tak ni? Ni yang untuk dalam campus actually. So kita tengok kita sempat tak yang presentation ni. Kalau kita tak sempat, then I would like to propose you prepare a video of your presentation and then submit the link to me. Kalau kita tak sempat lah untuk this, so that you can get the 10 point. Sebab apa tahu, for in-campus students, so we have a lot of activities that require them to present. So then we expose them with the soft skill, which is presentation or communication skill. So untuk jadi HR officer, elemen ni sangat penting. Kita kena pandai bercakap, bukan berkata-kata manis, bukan manis dalam berkata-kata, bukan. Tapi kita kena pandai bercakap. Pandai bercakap ni, one of it is how to convince our subordinate, how to convince our top management. Okay, so ini yang kita nak train. Salah satu skill. Ya, kita ada chat. Hi Louis. Oh, Louis. Okay. Any questions so far for the second assignment? Any question? Ada, is it clear?
Clear, Doktor.
Okay, Alhamdulillah. Thanks. Okay, so this is our final exam. So final exam at the end, we will conduct the final exam at the end of the semester and then it will draw on material discussed in lectures. Tapi please expect that our final exam is not similar to what you attend during your degree lah. It requires more critical thinking. Dia tak susah, tapi it is based on our experience. But you all dah ada working experience, and I thought it is at your level lah to propose the policy and so on. Okay, and then based on reading assignments and discussions throughout the whole course. So the exam will consist of short essay, questions asking you to apply concepts from readings, and presentation to real or hypothetical conflict scenarios. Okay, so this means you need to know not only the definition of various concepts, but the pros and cons of using concepts strategically. So the expected length of submission is 10 to 14 pages. Okay, so ini guideline untuk assignment lah. Ini tak apa, abaikan dulu ni dulu. Saya tak update lagi this one. Okay, so any questions so far? Tapi dalam ni adalah buku-buku yang kita akan guna along the way. Tapi kalau kita dah boleh pakai Putra ODL nanti, I will upload accordingly in our Putra ODL lah. So any questions so far regarding our assignment? Ada.
Doktor.
Yes. Yes.
Luqman di sini.
Yes, Luqman.
Okey, untuk yang conflict assignment tu, kita akan pilih satu case study ke?
Which one? The first or second? Dua-dua.
Second one. No,
Second one.
The 40%. Yeah.
40%. Yes, you may choose not necessarily a case study. So for example, you have experience related to employment dispute at your workplace contohnya. So then you may describe that situation here. Faham tak? Tak semestinya case study that you found in internet, tak semestinya. It can be based on your personal experience. Contohnya ada experience berkenaan dengan kes perebutan harta pusaka dengan adik-beradik. Then you may describe the conflict there. Faham? Ataupun you all ada isu yang melibatkan pergaduhan antara jiran. Then you interview your neighbor. Kalau possible lah. Kalau tak possible, kalau tak ada option sangat, then only then you go to look for any conflict, any real conflict. Saya tak nak, kalau boleh tak nak konflik yang direka-reka, dia tak menarik. Nak konflik yang betul-betul kita hadapi. Okay, gaduh dengan rakan sekerja ke. Okay, kalau you are kalau tadi JKM tadi, Azizul tadi bekerja sebagai JKM tadi, pegawai Jabatan Kebajikan Masyarakat. Bila kita handle kes-kes yang melibatkan contohnya domestic violence, contohnya macam child abuse ke. So macam mana kita handle that situation. So if you think that you need to apply any facts, any laws, any acts, mana-mana akta, mana-mana prosedur, memang kalau let's say saya tahu kalau let's say yang untuk domestic violence, then the victims tu can apply for EPO or IPO, Emergency Protection Order, contoh. Betul? Muaz pula. Azizul.
Boleh doktor bagi Muaz.
So then you can state all those acts. Libatkan dengan mana-mana akta. Ataupun kalau you all bekerja di JPA for example. Okay, you one of the conflict that you face adalah konflik yang melibatkan breach of contract. Breach of contract contoh, lagi satu adalah contoh pekerja yang tak fit dengan jawatan dia. Disebabkan sakit, masalah kesihatan ke, so on and so on. So you supply me with any acts, any facts, any rules, any proceedings that the employee has to go through. Itu yang saya nak. Saya tak nak you all reka-reka. Okay, nak yang betul-betul. Perdana, air pula. Okay, sorry masak air. Okay, clear? Is it clear? Sebab bila kita report, kalau yang tadi ada kawan kita tadi yang bekerja dekat customer service. So dia adalah konflik yang related to customer service dia. You just describe the conflict that you have life experience with. Boleh? Clear? Oh lah, dia menarik. Okay. Any question? Any other question? Tak ada dah. Okay, now I'm going to share with everybody what should you do regarding the submission, assignment submission. Okay. Allahu Akbar. Jadi balik dah. Salah ni. Kenapa dia jadi macam ni? Dia jadi balik dah. Semalam tu saya ada masalah yang sama ni. You all nampak tak screen sharing saya? Can you see? Nampak? Now can you see? Now can you see?
Yes, folders.
Okay, the folder. So nampak this folder ni nota kuliah, nampak?
Nampak.
Okay. So the first thing that you need to do is make sure that you sign in into the Dropbox. Okay, sign in into Dropbox. So Dropbox, hold on, I will share.
Assalamualaikum.
Ya, saya punya video kejut. Hold on. Mana saya punya ni? H. Okay, so go first, you search for Dropbox. Okay, so then you sign in into this Dropbox. Sign in. Okay, for new users, you are entitled for free 2 gig space. For new users, you are entitled for 2 gig space in Dropbox. 2 gig cukup lah. Okay, it's already enough for our group assignment. So make sure you sign in into this Dropbox, and then automatically, you all tak payah guna yang free trial, you guna yang basic je. Cukup. Okay, but for me, I use memang I bought the Dropbox lah. Saya guna yang ni. But for you, for the class purpose, then you just use the free version. Then you automatically entitled for 2 gig space. Okay, so cukup untuk kelas. Okay, and then after you sign in into Dropbox account, and then you download the software. Download the software into your device. Okay, selagi senang lah So install Dropbox into your device. Okay, next one, after you complete it, then after you install into your device, then you are going to have this thing. Nampak tak saya punya folder ni? You all akan ada this option in your device, in your laptop lah. Which one is mine? Ni, this one, option ni. Dropbox ni, you all akan ada ni. Okay, so for our class purpose, so as what I mentioned earlier, you need to create 2 types of folder. The first one is group folder. So group folder, after you identify and assign your group members, so then you give the name for your group in terms of numbering. Tadi saya kata saya tak pasti the total berapa, but if let's say we have 3 groups, contohnya 3 to 4 members for each group. So then you are entitled for first group. So then you locate one folder. How to create one folder? To create one folder, you right click and then click new and then click folder. Okay, for the folder, then you just mention, you just give the name group 1. Macam ni, buat macam ni. Group 1. Okay, and then after that, you share this group folder with every member of your group and including me. Okay, so how to share? Just right click. Okay, and then you click share. Right click and then click share. Okay, then include all your team members' email address. Okay, and then for me, you use my Gmail. You use my Gmail. Okay, and then make sure in terms of the role here, I can edit your folder, your file. Okay, and then after that, you click share. automatically I will get access to your folder. Ni. Clear? You want me to repeat? Faham?
Faham.
Clear ni untuk yang the group assignment. So anything related to group assignment, you just drag and drop into that folder. Drag and drop je. So you all tak payah share banyak kali. You all just need to share once, share sekali sahaja folder ni. And then any documents that you insert into the folder, I can have access. Saya kan ada access. Tak payah share banyak kali, sekali je. Okay, semua folder, semua content of the folder ni saya boleh tengok directly. Boleh? Faham? You all anything that you want to submit, you all just drag and drop dalam folder ni. Senang kerja. Okay, this is for group folder. Saya delete nanti saya confused. Okay. For the assignment, for the individual assignment folder, you use your metric number. Use your metric number. So for example, this student, the metric number is GS61470. Okay, and then to share with me, okay, for individual folder, all you need to share is just share with me. Not your not your team member. Hanya untuk group folder saja share dengan team. Individu for individual folder, just share with me. Okay, so that saya boleh tengok you all punya progress lah. Okay, sama macam mana nak share, sama right click, Dropbox, click share. Then include just write my email. Okay, clear? Any question? Tak ada. Okay, tak ada clear Tahu ni zaman you all, zaman teknologi. Okay, lagi satu regarding the self-report. So I'm going to share with everyone the template of self-report. Dia dah siap dah very proactive. Okay, next one is the template for self-assessment, self-report. Okay, so this is the self-report template. This one no need for you to prepare. I will upload in your individual folder. Saya akan masukkan after you share with me your individual folder, then I will share this one. Okay. So this is the objective, to give opportunity for every member in group to describe their contributions in work group project to ensure everyone contributes equally to group success. Okay, and then you need to describe your roles in detail. Cerita apa yang you all contribute dalam you all punya group. Okay, cerita dalam dengan detailnya kat sini. Okay, and then from 1 to 15 points, how would you rate your contributions in the following group? Ni you all bagi markah untuk diri sendiri. Berapa agaknya daripada 15 ni, berapa yang you all contribute? Bagi markah kat diri sendiri. Lastly, you include your team member and then you rate your team member individually. Daripada 1 hingga 15 ni, berapa you all nak bagi markah dekat team member you all? So then kita tahu siapa yang sebenarnya free rider dalam kita punya group. Okay? Faham Boleh?
Boleh.
Okay, good. Okay, so shall we proceed with our first topic? Ni dah settle. Can you see my slide? Boleh tengok tak?
Yes, boleh.
Okay, good. Will we get to access the recording for today later? Yes, Yiling. I'll share the recording later. But today I cannot promise lah sebab kadang-kadang the converting process tu takes time because after I ended the session, after I ended the Zoom meeting session, the Zoom meeting ni will convert the format of the video into the usable format, and it takes time. Okay, but after that I will upload lah. After the conversion complete, then I will upload in my YouTube, then I will share the link to everyone. Okay. So this is our first topic, the concept of conflict. Okay, so this is our LO. So at the end of the session, students are able to determine the basic organizational model, behavior model, can define the concept of conflict, elaborate 3 different views on conflict, okay, identify conflict based on different context and level. Okay, so this is our today's LO. Okay, so why we need to study about conflict? Why? Why dalam bidang HR ni dia include conflict? Kenapa? Kenapa? Because when we are working in any organization, as you can see on my slide, it can involve a few types of behavioral science area. So which include the 4 main areas, which is psychology, social psychology, sociology, and anthropology. Psychology ni something that is related to our minds, our emotions. Social psychology ni melibatkan anything that related to social interaction and involve the psychology and emotion. Okay, and then sociology ni dia melibatkan any interaction. So within the organization, or even when we go through our daily life, we cannot avoid with any interaction with another people because we are not living in vacuum. Kita bukannya hidup dalam dunia yang kita seorang je hidup, right? Kita hidup dalam sistem yang ada organisasi. What is organisasi? What is organization? Apa dia organisasi? Apa dia organisasi? Raymond, what is organization, Raymond? Raymond ni baru masuk ni tadi, tak sempat nak introduce. Tak ada, Raymond tak ada. Mia, missing.
Hello.
Yes. What is organization, Raymond?
An organization is a group of people that form a company, another entity to achieve common purpose or the purpose of the stakeholders.
Well done. Very clear definition. Yes, it involves a group of people that working together towards one objective. That is the organization. So the organization is not necessarily has a building. Tak semestinya. As long as they involve a group of people. Okay, then they are the same purpose. Okay, so as our daily life, we will always interact with another people. Start from we wake up from our sleep. Daripada kita bangun tidur sampailah kita tidur. It will involve the interaction. Okay, so bila dia involve the interaction ni, automatically it will involve conflict. Ada sahaja. For example, when you are arguing about the place that you want to eat, tempat yang nak pergi makan, it's already start to have a conflict. Satu nak pergi makan dengan Menate, satu lagi nak makan dekat Sopong. Contoh, for example. Okay, so another area is anthropology. So anthropology ni is related to culture, either within the community or within the organization. Okay, so then these are the contributions of each area of each behavioral science areas, and then the conflict ni, it can involve 3 main unit of analysis, in which the conflict can happen at a very basic level, which is the individual level, dekat level kita. Okay, the conflict within ourselves. Okay, yang kadang-kadang melibatkan konflik yang berlaku melibatkan konflik psikologi. Split personality contohnya. Okay, yang menyebabkan berlakunya split personality dalam kalangan individu atau remaja. Okay, nowadays when the teenagers spend a lot of times in front of the computer, for example. Dekat komputer ni, depan komputer, on internet, they tend to be the computer warrior contohnya. Kat komputer ni very aggressive to address the voice and so on. Tapi bila dekat luar in reality, he or she is very introvert. Ada dua personality yang berbeza. Itu konflik sebenarnya. Okay, konflik emosi, konflik psikologi, konflik attitude, konflik tingkah laku. Okay, and then the second one is the group level. Group level ni sama ada kita dalam keluarga, dalam berkumpulan, or when we work in the organisation and we work in group. Okay, dia adalah organisasi tertentu yang memang sangat menggalakkan kerja dalam berkumpulan. And then next one is the organizational system, the overall organization, the organizational system lah. So ini konflik dalam organisasi. But if we look at the conflict into the broader system, dia akan ada lagi lah konflik di peringkat community, konflik di peringkat negara dan konflik di peringkat antarabangsa, which can include the military conflict seperti mana yang berlaku di Russia and Ukraine. Itu contoh. Okay. So the book ni you can refer in details to the Robbins and Judge 2013. Dia ada lagi the updated version lah. Okay. Okay, so ini adalah basic OB model. Okay, kalau saya rasa nanti you all akan attend, for those new student you will attend the OD class with Dr. Faik. Okay, dalam OD class then you will learn about OB. Hold on. Okay, so according to basic OB model ni, dalam OB model ni dia akan melibatkan 3 benda. Organisasi OB ni referring to organizational behavior, tingkah laku organisasi. Okay, so dalam organisasi ni, kalau dalam manufacturing organisation ataupun in service organisation, dia akan ada tiga proses utama. Dia akan ada input, process and outcomes. Okay, input adalah any raw materials that we need in order for us to process. So for example, kalau dalam service sector, apa yang kita proses adalah diversity, personality, character. Itu contoh kalau dalam service industry. Okay, dan kita proses. Proses ni apakah any terms yang kita gunakan untuk ubah daripada input tadi, daripada personality, character tadi kepada output. Macam mana machine contohnya kalau dalam manufacturing organisation, macam mana satu machine tu berfungsi untuk ubahkan input ni, the raw material yang belum ada apa-apa fungsi kepada sesuatu yang memberi manfaat kepada orang lain. Okay, in which the manfaat ni itulah nama dia outcome. So macam mana the process ni change the diversity of individual, the personality, the values into the usable attitudes and stress, task performance, citizenship behavior and withdrawal behavior. Contoh. So outcomes ni adalah sesuatu yang kita boleh nampak. Okay. So dia sama juga, dia dividkan kepada 3 level juga. Individual level, group level and organizational level. Ni pun according to Robbins and Judge. Okay, next one. Ni kita tengok daripada broader concept of conflict. Okay, sebab conflict as what I said, kita punya focus, not all of us, our main focus is tak naklah dating dengan Yusmaliza. Siap dia tulis dating. Okay, so not all of us the main facing experience related to workplace conflict. Sebab kadang-kadang kerja kita melibatkan masyarakat. Dan kadang-kadang kerja kita ni melibatkan antarabangsa. For example, when you are working in foreign ministry. So konflik yang berlaku yang you all deal adalah antara 2 negara contohnya. Okay, so dalam kes isu konflik ni kita tak tengok dalam konteks yang kecil lah, sebab saya tahu you all ada pengalaman bekerja dan you all akan nampak lagi konteks yang besar, konflik ni. Kalau saya mengajar untuk undergraduate student is very limited. Tambah-tambah yang dalam kampus sebab dia orang tak boleh imagine macam mana konflik tu berlaku dalam organisasi sebab dia orang tak pernah bekerja. Okay? So kita boleh tengok daripada segi individu, community, enterprise ataupun organisasi dan larger society. Kita daripada dimensi dia, and then in terms of developmental stage dia kita ada 4 developmental stage: self-sovereign mind, socialized mind, self-authoring mind and self-transforming mind. Okay, so dia adalah ni perbahagian dia in which the conflict ni dia start daripada individu ni. Individu ni dia boleh jadi contributor or enabler to the conflict. Dia basic unit dia sebenarnya hujung-hujung tu adalah the individual level. Individu ni sebenarnya yang memberi masalah atau menyumbang kepada konflik. But not all conflict is a negative thing. Tak semua konflik tu adalah memberi impact negatif kepada organisasi ataupun kumpulan. Okay, and then dia boleh jadi restraint or disabling juga. Okay, sama juga group. Bila individu ni bermasalah, dia boleh membantutkan pergerakan ataupun prestasi kumpulan. Dan bila kumpulan bermasalah, dia akan boleh membantutkan prestasi ataupun pencapaian organisasi. Dan bila organisasi bermasalah dan organisasi ni boleh menyumbang kepada masalah kepada persekitaran. Okay, ataupun the interconnected living system, either geologic, economic, societal or ecologic. This one is in the broader context, which is, for example, we can see from the domestic, apa nama dia? Allah, saya terlupa pula. GDP, gross domestic product contohnya, daripada pencapaian negara ni dekat negara. So dia boleh jadi kedua-dua, sama ada dia restrict ataupun the enabler. Okay, konflik ni ada positive and the negative side. Okay, any questions so far? Tak ada? Laju. Okay, so based on my brief explanation, what we can conclude about conflict? Does it has any specific place to happen? Conflict ni. Does it ada tak specific place to happen? Ada?
Everywhere.
Yes, the conflict ni happen everywhere. Either when we just work by ourselves, bila kita bekerja sendiri pun kita akan ada conflict to decide which option is the best for us. Dan bila kita bersama dengan group ataupun family kita, dia akan ada melibatkan konflik juga. Siapa yang nak duduk di meja tengah, siapa yang nak duduk di kerusi belakang. Contohnya, when we are in the car, contohnya siapa nak duduk kat sebelah, siapa nak duduk kat rear seat contohnya. Okay, bila kita bekerja dalam organisasi pun ada konflik. Anyway, it just depending on the types of conflict that we are involving. Okay, depend pada jenis konflik, dan konflik tu dia boleh jadi kecil ataupun besar depending on the situation and depending on the level. Okay, so what is conflict? So this is a very general definition of conflict. So conflict ni is any behavior in which people oppose one another in their thoughts, feelings or action. So kalau you all sendiri, apa yang you all rasa sebenarnya konflik ni? Bila yang you all rasa konflik? Macam mana you all nak tahu kehadiran konflik? Macam mana?
Pertembungan pandangan atau apa-apa pencanggahan, Doktor.
Pencanggahan pandangan, okey. Lagi, bila contohnya Azizul, bila Azizul rasa macam ada berlakunya pencanggahan pandangan ni, if you can describe one specific life experience that you have.
Sebagai contoh, bila kita dah mencadangkan satu idea, ada idea lain yang mungkin bertentangan, kat situ mungkin kita perlu cari penyelesaian lah. Saya anggap benda itu sebagai satu konflik lah. Benda yang boleh ada, masing-masing ada pendapat masing-masing lah, membezakan.
Contoh spesifik, Azizul nak duduk Putrajaya, Wai pula nak duduk dekat Cyberjaya. Dua. Itu contoh spesifik. They have two different ideas. Azizul nak duduk Putrajaya sebab dekat dengan tempat kerja dia. Okay, Wai Azizul nak duduk Cyberjaya sebab banyak tempat shopping. Contoh. Okay, itu ada dua niat yang berbeza dan matlamat yang berbeza. Okay, ada lagi contoh lain. Tapi ini the simple one lah, but yeah, Raymond. Yes.
Yeah. Any difference that have not come into discussion and have not come into blending and also compromise and also consensus that which is not yet come into agreed upon, it is different, it is conflict. But if any difference that already discussed many rounds and already come into understanding, mutual consensus, agreed upon, less conflict occur.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Raymond. Very brief description and explanation. Thank you so much. Okay, so these are another definition of conflict. Okay, so it can be it can be a perception. Okay, conflict must be perceived. These are the criteria of conflict. So how does the conflict happen? It must be perceived that the conflict happened. So the conflicting parties conflict must be perceived by the parties to it. Macam mana kita nak tahu adanya konflik? Pihak, maksudnya kedua-dua pihak ni rasa, perceive yang konflik tu berlaku. Okay, whether or not conflict exists is a perception issue. Sebab kadang-kadang konflik ni dia takkan wujud kalau kita tak rasa benda tu konflik. Contohnya, when someone said to you, something like this, double meaning words. Contoh, I'm thinking about double meaning words. Okay, contohnya, best lah semalam husband balik. Contoh, double meaning words. Okay, this is the word that is related to sexual harassment within the organisation. Contoh, okay, sebab konflik pun akan berkait dengan sexual harassment, salah satu. So this word, dia boleh jadi konflik dan dia boleh juga tak jadi konflik. It can be a conflict if the person who heard this word feels that it is satu perkataan yang sensitif. Tapi it is not necessarily a conflict if the person perceive that there is nothing wrong with the words, because they say yes, memang best pun kalau husband balik, right? Another example is kalau let's say kalau you all ada experience bos yang suka betulkan collar tie untuk lelaki, contohnya. Ada bos yang dia memang tak boleh tengok subordinate dia tu jenis pakai tak kemas. So dia suka betulkan collar baju. Ada isu, ada case. Okay. So kalau let's say the staff tu dia tak rasa apa-apa, so it is not a conflict. Tapi kalau dia rasa, okay, dia dah sexually harassed, dia rasa bila bos dia pegang dia collar baju tu dia ada rasa the intimate relationship. Contohnya. So it can be a conflict and then it can be part of sexual harassment. Contoh, okay, and then if no one is aware of a conflict, then it is generally agreed that no conflict exists. Macam saya cakap tadi lah. Sebab dalam isu sexual harassment sebenarnya it is one of the case that hardly to be proven in court. Okay, sebab kadang-kadang sexual harassment ni dia tak ada record. Okay, tak ada record, tak ada video, tak ada virtual video, tak boleh tengok visual video, virtual pula. So it is based on what we perceive. Dia rasa okay, then it's okay. Kalau kita rasa itu tak okay, then the joke is not okay. Okay, and then currently if you heard the word sayang cannot be used in any organisation. Betul tak? Sayang. It's a word. It is a type of sexual harassment word. Okay, the word sayang. Okay, and then factors that cause to conflict. Kita tengok another element is factors that cause to conflict. For example, the incompatibility of goals. Yang ni yang kita discuss tadi lah, perbezaan matlamat, differences over interpretation of facts. Fakta yang sama, tapi we have different opinion regarding those facts. Okay, and disagreements based on behavioral expectation. So ini sama dengan apa yang kita relatekan daripada the general definition just now. The next one, tangible and intangible consequences. So conflict ni, it can cause both tangible and intangible consequences. As a result of conflict, dan kita tengok bruise, ada lebam-lebam di muka isteri contohnya. When the wife ni involved in domestic violence, for example. Itu dah tanda-tanda dah kita nampak memang berlakunya konflik. Maksudnya kita tahu macam mana berlakunya konflik tu bila kita tengok ada tanda dia. Ataupun tumbukan dekat pintu contohnya, atau anywhere at your home lah contoh. Ataupun dia boleh jadi intangible consequences. Intangible consequences ni contohnya psychological dismiss contohnya. Kita di-avoid secara psikologi, kita tak diajak makan bersama-sama contoh. Okay, then this situation refers to a behavior in which people oppose one and another in their thoughts, feelings and or action. Okay, so dia boleh jadi dua konflik. Okay. Ini tak apa. Okay, ini tak apa, dah clear. Okay. So far so good. Boleh lagi dengan saya so far? Boleh Boleh. Okay, good. So now, let's go a little bit regarding the language, the origin of language. So language, it is the words ni, it is actually the language or the words, the term that we use in our daily interaction or daily communication is actually an abstract. Abstract ni something that we cannot actually see. Okay, so bila kita tahu, kita sebenarnya kan, language ni, bahasa ni, tadi kita ada kawan kita daripada fakulti bahasa kan, please correct me if I'm wrong Bahasa ni adalah merupakan satu inovasi yang sangat penting yang dicipta oleh manusia. Language, term. Okay, and then dia kata it is fairly easy to agree on the meaning of words that represent physical object. Sebab kadang-kadang words yang kita cakap, perkataan yang kita cakap ni, dia boleh melambangkan sesuatu yang kita boleh nampak secara fizikal dan sesuatu yang kita tak boleh nampak, tangible and intangible things. Okay, so for example, if you want to explain to someone what the word apple means or stand, apple. Kalau let's say lah, kita tak ada pun buah apple tu dan kita sebut dekat kawan kita apple, I want an apple. Tapi kalau apple tu memang, sebab apple tu ada objek. By the way, kenapa apple tu adalah apple? Kenapa dia bukan orange? Kenapa dia bukan banana? Kenapa dia bukan papaya? Why? Why do we perceive apple is an apple?
I know why. Sorry, hello.
Yes, Raymond. Please proceed.
Yeah, I know why people perceive apple as an apple.
Why?
Because in the early childhood, the infant or the child or the children, they are able to pronounce that simple words. So it's because it is easier to be pronounced, so it is called apple. So universally accepted, it is apple. So and everybody accept it as an apple. So everywhere apple. So this is why apple is so famous in the world. Yeah.
Yeah. So the clue is universally accepted that it is an apple. So therefore, it is referring to apple. Tadi Raymond kata it is an invention. Sebab dulu orang dah kenalkan ini adalah apple. Okay, then dia ada objek. So this is, the name is apple. So then you can go get one. But apple ni, bila kita kata apple, you can go and get one or a bushel of basket or buy 100 worth of them and put them in front of the individual. Maksudnya apple ni kita boleh tunjukkan, okay, this is apple. Okay, and then together you can fully experience apple. You can taste it, kita boleh touch, kita boleh tengok color dia. Okay, maksudnya dia ada physical shape, bentuk physical. Okay, you can taste, you can touch, you can peel, you can juice, you can cook it in a pie or examine in under the microscope. Kita boleh tengok dia. benda yang which is physically touchable. Okay, so dia adalah real exist in nature. We can easily learn all about the apple and easily associate the word apple with the physical object. So that's why kita dah university, kita semua terima yang itu adalah apple dan bentuk dia macam ni. Okay, color dia macam ni, merah ke hijau ke, depend. But okay, physical apple tadi senang sebab dia ada bentuk. Okay, and then okay, ni dah. Okay, so apple ni in English the name is apple. But okay, another word of apple ni in another language. For example, in Spanish, we use manzana. Okay, so different languages, they ada different term to referring to similar thing. Benda yang sama, apple. Dalam bahasa Melayu sama je, kita panggil apple. Tapi in Arabic, for example, the name is tufah. Tufah. Benda yang sama. Tapi different language has different term to refer to the same thing. It's already can cause to conflict. Okay. Next thing, we look at into the ladder of abstraction. Okay. Start from the concrete object of the apple. So then we have the real apple, or we take the photograph of an apple or wax apple. Okay, still life painting of an apple. The logo of the Apple Computer Company, the word Apple. And then lastly, the abstract conceptualization. Dia dah start. Bila start word Apple je, dia dah start the abstract. Okay. What happened when we wish to understand or experience something that only reside at the abstract bottom of the ladder like the word justice? Okay, let's look at this ladder abstraction. Jadi saya kata apple ni senang sebab dia ada bentuk dan dia boleh ditransform dalam pelbagai bentuk sehinggalah penghujungnya dia adalah perkataan apple tu sendiri. And then they start the conceptualization. Apple senang di justify because apple ada bentuk. But if let's say we want to know about justice, the word justice. What is justice? Does it have shape? Do you can touch justice? You can feel justice? What is justice? Can we transform justice into something that has the shape? Boleh? So if let's say I ask Raymond, what do you mean by justice, Raymond? Tak ada Raymond. Kalau saya tanya Azizul, what do you mean by justice, Azizul? Adil.
Konteks adil, doktor, yang difahamkan mungkin ada yang berpandangan adil ni sama rata, tapi bagi saya adil tu meletakkan sesuatu pada tempatnya.
Lain dah.
Macam
ya. Lagi-lagi apa lagi yang Azizul nak tambah?
Itu je doktor. Saya faham lah.
Louis? Okay, thank you. Louis, what do you understand by justice? Adil.
Adil tu means bagus untuk semua orang.
Again.
Adil tu maksud dia bagus untuk semua orang.
Bagus untuk semua orang. Okay. Then is it the word justice ni similar if let's say you have child that is on at his or her secondary school atau dengan anak yang lagi seorang ni dengan primary school. Kalau kita bagi duit sekolah untuk anak-anak ni, adakah kita kena bagi RM10 seorang ataupun justice tu abang lagi dapat banyak, adik dapat kurang? Mana satu justice? Semua dapat RM10 ataupun seorang 10, seorang 5. Mana satu justice?
Justice yang saya maklum tadi doktor, yang meletakkan sesuatu pada tempatnya. Contoh macam abang baju saiz XL, takkan bagi adik pun saiz XL. Kalau konsep adil dia, kena sesuai lah, mengikut kesesuaian.
See? So it's already between Louis and Azizul. So already have differences. So kadang-kadang kita rasa sama. Kan? Sama rata. It is a justice. Tapi according to certain situation, we cannot allocate the resources that we have equally. But it depends on the position, the status and so on. So justice ni dia adalah something yang intangible. Dia tak ada bentuk. Okay, tapi dia exist in nature tapi tak ada real bentuk. Dan dia boleh jadi justice ni tak sama untuk setiap individu. Okay, the way we perceive justice different. Itu baru term justice. Banyak lagi the terms, the abstract terms yang sebenarnya when we perceive or when we try to interpret, it will be interpreted differently according to people. Tak sama. Well, even when we are working in one organization or even when we are living in one family, sebab tu dia ada perbezaan pendapat. Okay, because the abstraction of word tu sendiri. Okay, defining our words. So therefore, there is no real or concrete object called justice. So we cannot go up the ladder to study the concept of justice. Tak ada guna. Kalau kita naik the ladder pun tak ada guna. Okay? So because we cannot transform the word justice to physical thing. So then when we go to the dictionary for its definition of justice, for example, we can see only other abstraction. Bila kita tengok di dictionary, kita nak tahu apa lagi the definition of justice ni. Then the dictionary ni will lead you to another abstract. For example, okay, the dictionary will state the meaning using words such as fairness. Fairness ni another abstract pula. So apa pula fairness? Law. Apa pula law? Okay, legitimacy, truth, correctness, and equality. Dia lead you to another abstract yang sebenarnya lagi banyak benda yang kita kena tengok, lagi banyak confusion sebenarnya. Okay, so the Oxford Dictionary of Quotation 3rd edition, for example, lists the following examples under the word justice. They explain, thesaurus. Justice is the means by which established injustice are sanctioned. They explain macam tu pula. And then justice is truth in action. Revenge is a kind of wild justice. So macam mana kita nak faham word justice tu? Okay, so therefore, how effectively we comprehend each other's abstract conceptualizations depends on the amount of shared agreement on the definition of the words or concept. Dia berbalik kepada word abstract word of apple tadi. So Raymond kata apple tu dijadikan apple tu, buah tu dipanggil apple sebab dia ada universal acceptance. So kalau sesuatu konsep justice tu diterima sebagai sama rata oleh semua orang, then only then we can say that justice tu merujuk kepada sama rata. Tapi kalau let's say perkataan justice tu merujuk kepada kita meletakkan sesuatu tu di tempatnya, then itulah dan dipersetujui oleh secara universalnya, dan itulah maksud justice. So it may change according to the people, according to community, according to family, according to country, and so on. Okay, so the amount of agreement or similarity in definition of concept is heavily influenced by culture. Inilah elemen yang akan menentukan sama ada macam mana kita mentakrifkan sesuatu perkataan tu. Okay, budaya kita, educator, pendidik kita, keluarga kita, politik dalam situasi ataupun dalam kehidupan kita, and religious leaders kita. Kalau kita in Malaysia, for example in Muslim, most of us will be influenced by the religious leader. Okay? Okay. Any questions so far? Itu baru brief lagi. Yeah, so far so good, Okay, so next one, views on conflict. Okay, so conflict ni secara generalnya, okay, there are 3 views related to conflict. The traditional view, the human relation view, and the interactionist view. Okay, traditional, human relation and interaction. So traditional view ni sebenarnya all the three views ni, walaupun dia dah di-establish lama, diperkenalkan lama, dah berkurun dah, but until now sebenarnya ada lagi individu-individu yang mengamalkan ketiga-tiga ni sama ada secara serentak ataupun secara berasingan. So view ni kita pandangan konflik ni sebenarnya dia boleh jadi ada split second bila kita tengok sesuatu situasi tu. Contohnya accident. Kita tengok accident tu sebenarnya kita dah ada view dah tentang konflik tu. Kita dah ada perspektif kita tersendiri mengenai situasi tersebut. Okay, apa dia the traditional view of conflict ni? Okay, traditional view of conflict ni dia adalah merupakan earliest pendekatan yang paling awal yang diperkenalkan pada tahun 1933s and 1940s to conflict, in which they assume that all conflicts was bad, negative and harmful. Okay, dia punya pandangan and then conflict was viewed negatively and it was used synonymously with such term as violence, destruction and irrationality to reinforce its negative connotation. But dia kata any shape, any bentuk, any situasi of conflict ni sebenarnya buruk dan perlu dielakkan. Okay, and then the conflict by definition was harmful and was to be avoided. The traditional view of conflict was consistent with the attitudes that prevailed about group behavior in the conflict in the 1930s and 1940s group behavior time tu. Okay, so kalau kita tengok sejarah during that time, okay, in terms of the societal structure, dia adalah structure yang macam pyramid tu, pyramid punya structure, in which the system macam sistem monarki yang still berlaku di Thailand, sistem pentadbiran dia, ataupun sistem kasta yang masih berlaku di India contohnya. Kat Malaysia kita still ada sistem tu, tapi sistem tu tak adalah sekebal macam mana yang berlaku di Thailand contohnya. Okay, maksudnya traditional view ni orang atasan dia akan cuba any means, any cara to maintain the position, sebab konflik ni dia akan berkait dengan power maintain, power macam mana dia nak sustain the power in the system. Okay, so macam mana yang kita, kalau kita boleh nampak yang paling senang adalah Thailand, sistem monarki dia. Okay, and then conflict was seen as a dysfunctional outcome resulting from poor communication, a lack of openness and trust between people, okay, and the failure of managers or leaders to be responsive to the needs and aspirations of their employees. So dalam traditional view of conflict ni, pihak atasan ataupun the top leader ni dia cuba untuk mengurangkan dipanggil apa bantahan-bantahan daripada bawahan ni, grup bawahan ni. Okay, so kalau kita tersalah cakap, kalau kita keluarkan kata-kata negatif berkenaan dengan ketua kita, dan kita akan dipancung contohnya. So yang atas ni, grup yang atas ni dia akan menghapuskan any source of conflict. Okay. Okay, so the view that all conflict is bad certainly offers a simple approach to looking at the behavior of people who create conflict. Okay, so because all conflict is to be avoided, we need merely direct our attention to the causes of conflict and correct those malfunctions to improve group and organizational performance. Maksudnya kalau dia nampak je ada rusuhan contohnya, so dia akan do something to correct, dia akan eliminate rusuhan tersebut to make sure that the country works as usual. Okay, tak kira lah dipenjarakan ke, dibunuh ke. Okay, so although research tadi tapi walaupun kita kata traditional view ni sebenarnya tak bagus, tapi studies proven that dispute that this approach to conflict reduction result in high group performance. Dia kata walaupun traditional view ni macam kalau kita nampak dalam in modern life ni dia tak sesuai dah. Tapi it has been proven by past study that view ni adalah view yang paling efektif untuk meningkatkan prestasi dalam kumpulan. Tapi saya tak pastilah apa yang berlaku di South Korea. South Korea. Korea Selatan. So Korea Selatan pun dia menggunakan yang Kim Jong Un tu. Okay, dia pun menggunakan approach yang sama. Okay, the traditional view of conflict. Dia akan eliminate any source of conflict among their citizen. Okay, faham the traditional view of conflict?
Faham.
Okay, good. Okay, next one, we move to human relation view of conflict. Okay, so under this view, okay, it is argued that conflict was a natural occurrence. They start dalam based on view ni, human relation view ni, they start to accept that conflict ni is a natural occurrence. Okay, in all group and in any organisation. Dia benda-benda yang natural. Sebenarnya kita tak boleh nak avoid. Okay, because it is inevitable. Inevitable ni means that we cannot avoid because it is a natural thing. So the human relations school advocated the acceptance of conflict. Dia start menerima konflik ni sebagai sesuatu yang biasa, common thing. Okay, so proponents rationalize its existence. So dia start menerima kewujudan konflik ni. So it cannot be eliminated. And there are even times when conflict may benefit group performance. Pada start around 1940 dengan 1970s ni, dia start terima konflik ni sebagai sesuatu yang natural. Kita tak boleh eliminate, kita tak boleh eliminate 100%, then we have to accept the conflict in our daily life. And then one thing that differentiate between another thing that differentiate between human relation dengan the traditional view ni adalah dia kata konflik ni ada good side dia. They start to see konflik ni can benefit group performance. Tak semua konflik akan hinder the group ni daripada objective achievement. Tak semestinya. Okay, ada yang akan benefit the group. Okay, the last view of the conflict, which is the interactionist view ni, they encourage the conflict on the ground that a harmonious, peaceful, tranquil, and cooperative group is prone to becoming static, apathetic, and non-responsive to needs for change and innovation. Kalau kita hidup dalam situasi yang terlalu harmoni, tak ada group, apa semua, sebenarnya kehidupan kita adalah satu kehidupan yang statik. Statik ni tak ada perubahan. Maksudnya tak ada innovation. We just satisfied with whatever we need and then we don't want, kita tolak any types of change in our community, in ourselves, in our society, in our organisation. In which it is bad lah. Okay, so if you can imagine what happened to Nokia, I'm not sure some other those who attended the class OD already heard about the story about Nokia. What happened to Nokia? 10 years, 20 years ago, Nokia reached dia punya zaman kegemilangan dia. Okay? Tapi because of its refusal to accept change, so you can see what happened to Nokia today. Berapa ramai daripada kita yang pernah membeli telefon Nokia 10 years, 20 years ago? 3310. Berapa ramai? How many hours?
Doktor.
Pernah.
Pernah beli. Berapa pernah beli? Bukan berapa ringgit, berapa unit. Berapa unit sempat beli Nokia? Yes. Raymond pun pernah. So maksudnya kita sebenarnya dalam era yang sama lah, lebih kurang lah tu. Saya sempat beli 2. 3310, 3 kot. 3310, lepas tu ada yang lipat, lepas tu ada lagi satu, lagi satu yang macam flip tu. Saya sempat 3. Tua sikit lah kot. But nowadays in the marketplace, how frequent we can see, ataupun dalam sekolah rendah lagi time tu, kecil lagi lah. Okay, nampak sangat nak kata saya tua. Okay, baik Lokman. Okay, so dalam kalangan kita sekarang today nowadays, berapa ramai kita boleh tengok kawan kita, klik kita yang pakai telefon Nokia? Berapa ramai? Saya kata sekarang ni iPhone. Saya sempat 3310. Saya pun sempat 3310. It was my first handphone. Mobile phone. Berapa ramai? Kau tengok, family kita ada tak pakai Nokia lagi? I don't think so.
Tak ada.
Okay, so the reason why the situation happened to Nokia is the refusal of the top management to accept change at that time. Bila dia dah start berubah masa tu, bila start dengan telefon yang tekan tu, dan dia start kepada screen, screen touch screen tu, okay, ataupun dia punya button tu. Sebelum ni button dia timbul, dan sekarang button dia dah sebelum lepas tu button dia tak timbul, dan dia change dekat touch screen tu. Okay, start daripada situlah. Okay, dia selain daripada tu dia ada BlackBerry, right? Lepas tu BlackBerry naik kejap. BlackBerry
Betul, BlackBerry.
BlackBerry naik kejap, and then BlackBerry pun turun. Then sekarang ni you can see iPhone. Okay, we can see lagi apa, Redmi, Xiaomi, itu yang naik. Okay, so the reason is kalau kita tak menerima konflik, sebab konflik ni dia embed dalam change tu. Okay, konflik ni berlaku bila kita rasa yang kehidupan kita, kehidupan harmoni kita ni terganggu dengan sesuatu yang baru. Sama dalam organisasi. Kalau you all adalah generasi X, Gen X, Z baru, X, baby boomers. Contoh baby boomers dulu. Okay, sebelum ni dia guna mesin type, sangat laju. Mesin type tu dia guna. Tapi bila ada komputer, dan nowadays bila ada laptop, dan nowadays kita berubah daripada hard drive, save dokumen tu dekat hard disk. Last time kita start ada disket, ada pen drive, dan sekarang hard disk. Now cloud saving contohnya, simpan dokumen tu dalam cloud je. Okay, itu contohlah dekat organisasi. Okay, and then the major contribution of the interactionist view therefore is encouraging group leaders to maintain an ongoing minimum level of conflict. So in which enough to keep the group viable, self-critical and creative. So dia kata kat sini dia dah nampak dah. Tadi dia dah nampak, dia admit that the conflict ni give dalam human relation view, dia admit yang konflik ni memberi benda yang positif kadang-kadang, tapi dia tak betul-betul specify lagi dalam situasi mana konflik tu sebenarnya memberi kesan yang positif. Tapi dalam interactionist view ni dia dah nampak dah yang part mana sebenarnya konflik ni boleh memberi impact negatif, impact positif. Okay, and then dia kata konflik ni dia dah identify dah sampai level mana sebenarnya kita perlu maintainkan kena adanya konflik dalam sebuah organisasi to make sure yang every member within the organisation ni viable, critical and creative. Dia nak menggalakkan benda di dalam organisasi supaya organisasi terus sustain. Okay, so the interactionist views does not propose that all conflict are good. Dia kata some conflict support the goals of the group and improve its performance. So ada konflik yang memang menyokong pencapaian prestasi kumpulan. So dia adalah merupakan functional conflict, constructive forms of conflict. Some conflict, so yang ni kita panggil constructive conflict or functional conflict. Okay, some conflict pula hinder group performance. Dia menyekat ataupun menghalang prestasi kumpulan. So this referring to the dysfunctional conflict or disruptive forms of conflict. So interactionist view ni dia mengkelaskan jenis konflik ni kepada dua, sama ada functional or dysfunctional conflict. Okay. So ini dia perbezaan antara traditional versus current views of conflict. So kalau traditional dia kata konflik ni should be avoided. Tapi current view dia kata konflik ni is inevitable. Memang. So sebenarnya sampai sekarang ada lagi orang yang ada pandangan ni. Contoh-contohnya adalah orang yang melakukan keganasan rumah tangga. Dia kata why dia tak boleh. Contoh dia contoh ni saya bukannya menyokong mana-mana gender Okay, so contohnya why dia tak boleh dipanggil membangkang any idea yang dia cakap. Kalau dia bangkang je, kalau isteri bangkang je, then punishment. Why dia kena dipunish. Sama ada kena pukul ke, itu contoh. Okay, tak boleh membangkang. Okay, and then conflict is caused by management error in designing organisation or by troublemakers. Sebab apa kat sini? Dia kata konflik ni dua je. Management ni atau top leader ni tak mungkin akan buat konflik. Kalau ada pun error dia tapi dia tak nak terima. Okay, then lagi satu sumber konflik dalam organisasi ni adalah by troublemaker. Troublemaker ni maksudnya the subordinate. Sebab tu sama ada dia akan usahakan untuk diminish, eliminate the troublemakers ni. Because dia rasa konflik tu bila hanya akan selesai bila kita buang or eliminate the source of conflict. Okay? Tapi based on current view, dia kata conflict arises from many causes. Okay, including organizational structure, unavoidable differences in goals, differences in perceptions and values of specialized personnel and so on. Kalau dalam current view ni kita sedar yang konflik tu sesuatu yang kita tak boleh elak dan dia boleh jadi berlaku disebabkan oleh banyak sebab, bukan hanya disebabkan oleh management error ataupun the troublemakers, bukan, banyak sumber. Okay, and then conflict disrupt the organizational and prevents optimal performance kalau ikut traditional view, but according to current view, conflict contributes and detracts from organizational performance in varying degree. It depend kepada level conflict. Okay, ada organisasi dia perlu maintainkan minimal conflict, ada organisasi dia kena maintainkan average conflict. Tapi kalau too many conflict exist in the organization, for sure dia akan mengganggu pencapaian organisasi. Kalau maksimum dia level dia sampai average je. Dah start kena tekak dah. Okay, and then the task of the management is to eliminate the conflict based on the traditional view, but based on the current view, the task of the management is to manage. Eliminate dengan manage tak sama Eliminate ni kita buang langsung, tapi manage ni kita handle, we control, we consult, okay, we resolve, we mediate, so that all the parties tu can work as usual, effectively and efficiently as usual. Kita tak diminish, but kita manage. Kita tak fire employee kita terus, tapi we give the training, we listen to them. Okay, itu maksud dia. And then optimal organizational performance requires the removal of conflict. Ni samalah yang atas ni. But according to the current view, dia kata optimal organizational performance requires a moderate level of conflict. Sampai moderate level, average level. Tak boleh tak ada langsung dan tak boleh terlalu banyak konflik, tapi dia kena ada moderate level. Okay. So function sama ada how we want to identify either the conflict is functional or dysfunctional ni depends on three things. 3 benda. Okay, kita boleh tengok, kita boleh nilai sama ada sesuatu konflik tu kita kata sebagai functional or dysfunctional ni. First kali kita tengok daripada segi task. Task ni related to content and goals of the work. Sama ada konflik yang involve ni dia akan lead towards the goal achievement ataupun akan hinder daripada goal achievement. Okay, daripada segi task. The second one based on the relationship. Relationship ni based on related to interpersonal relationship between those who works towards one goal ni lah. Okay, sama ada relationship tu. Yeah. I disagree long-term conflict. Conflict has to be solved with many dialogues. Motivation is true drive for organizational success. Yes, Raymond. Okay. I'm quite happy to hear that from you, but in our society we have to admit that there are still people that do not see the long-term relationship ni as an advantage. Ada. So that's why this is one of the purpose of this class in which we want to educate people related to the long term, the importance of long term relationship and so on. Tapi dalam community kita ada yang tak nampak benda tu sebagai satu advantage, kelebihan. Okay? Inilah yang the variation or the variety yang kita kena terima dalam komuniti kita ataupun dalam kita bekerja. Okay, when we deal with people. Okay, the last one is process, which is related to how the work gets done. Okay, so ini 3 benda macam mana kita nak identify sama ada sesuatu konflik itu functional or dysfunctional. Okay, you by comparing, by make these 3 comparison. Okay. Okay, so this is a little bit findings from the literature lah. So studies demonstrate that relationship conflict are almost dysfunctional. Conflict relationship tadi yang proses ni, relationship yang second one ni. Okay, dia kata most of the relationship conflict ni dysfunctional. Tapi dia kata it appears that the friction and interpersonal hostilities inherent in relationship conflicts increase personality clash and decrease mutual understanding, so which hinders the completion of organizational tasks. So dia kata sebenarnya perbezaan individu dalam kumpulan ni dia boleh menjejaskan, dia boleh mempengaruhi dia boleh mempengaruhi task konflik. Okay, dia boleh contribute towards the task conflict. Sebenarnya manager ni dia kata unfortunately managers spend a lot of their times resolving personality conflict. Tetapi one survey indicated that 18% of managers' time is spent trying to resolve personality conflict among staff member. Sebenarnya sedar ke tak sedar relationship conflict ni adalah relationship yang kebanyakannya memang dysfunctional. Dysfunctional maksudnya dia memang boleh merosakkan pencapaian organisasi dan dia paling sukar untuk kita resolve. Sebab perbezaan individu. If we cannot accept the differences between people that we work with, it's very difficult sebenarnya dalam organisasi. Okay, saya bagi satu contoh lah. You meet this girl or guy for the first time in your life. First time kita jumpa. But in your mind, the word that come first is, oh damn, I cannot work with this girl or guy. Pernah tak? Ada experience tu? I'm sure unless you baru keluar gua. Betul tak? Kita pernah ada experience tu. Ya, Zizul?
Betul.
But why? Do we know why? Do we have any empirical evidence why we respond that way? Oh, nothing impossible. Why we respond in that way?
Early judgment. Early judgment.
Okay, but based on the early judgment, it can influence our next action. Gelombang berbeza. Yes, memang betul karakter berbeza possible. Okay, tapi sebenarnya most of manager ni maksudnya kita pun ada tendency later on to spend a lot of our time to resolve this issue, personality issue, in which kita tak boleh, susah nak ubah. Benda yang paling susah nak ubah dalam tentang employee kita adalah dia punya attitudes, personality, karakter, susah. Okay? Okay, next one. Low level of process conflict and low to moderate levels of task conflicts are functional. So kalau relational tadi, sebenarnya kebanyakan majority of relational conflict ni adalah dysfunctional. But for the process conflict, kita kena maintain at low level process ni. And then for the task conflict, moderate level. Kita kena ada, ini yang kita kena identify. Mana satu task conflict, mana satu kalau boleh relational conflict ni kita eliminate, kita abaikan terus. Sebab memang kita tak boleh nak buat apa-apa. But process conflict kita kena maintain at low level so that we can see the CQI. CQI ni continuous quality improvement for any process that we do in our organisation. Contohnya proses nak buat surat. Nak buat surat for secretary contohnya. So kita prepare the template. Next time we can just use the template. Kita next time mungkin ada lagi proses yang boleh simplify, mail merge contohnya, untuk bantu kita perbetulkan proses, make the work process easier, effective and efficient. Okay, itu contoh. And then for the task task conflict ni moderate level. Okay. So tak bacalah the rest tu. Rasa sikit je hari ni, banyak pula. Okay, context and levels of conflict. Okay, so conflict ni kalau kita take, dia sebenarnya depend on the level that we see lah. Kalau our analysis is on organizational level, then probably we have 3 levels lah: individual, group and organizational level. Tapi kalau kita tengok in the broader concept, we have the community and international conflict. Okay, so conflict level ni dia ada 2 jenis, intrapersonal and interpersonal. Intrapersonal dalam diri, interpersonal between individuals. Okay, and then conflict juga, conflict at group level pun ada 2, intragroup conflict, intergroup conflict. Organizational ni pun ni dibuang organizational level pula ni. Allah hai. Organizational at organizational level. Hold on saya delete sana. Banyak kali dah nampak tapi terlupa nak ni. Okay, so next one is organizational conflict. So sama juga intra-organizational, inter-organizational conflict, community conflict and international conflict. Okay, so ini dia punya context and level of conflict in our of interest in our topic lah, in our course. Okay, so ni saya rasa saya boleh laju lah kot. Intrapersonal conflict ni also known as intra-individual or psychic, intra-psychic conflict, in which it occurs when organizational members is required to perform certain tasks and roles that do not match his or her expertise, interests, goals and values. So sebenarnya konflik yang intrapersonal ni any konflik yang happen within ourselves. Kita tak suka tapi tak boleh nak cakap apa. Kita tak pandai tapi kita tak boleh nak apa. Okay, it just happen within ourselves. The thoughts is within ourselves. Okay, and interpersonal conflict also known as dyadic conflict. Sebab apa? Sebab dia melibatkan hubungan antara 2 pihak, dyadic. Okay, so refers to conflict between 2 or more organizational members of the same or different hierarchical levels or unit. Okay, and then the studies on superior subordinate conflict relate to this type of conflict. So contoh interpersonal conflict adalah conflict between subordinate and superior ataupun between cliques. Okay, so then it involves some form of goal conflict and cognitive conflict. So goal conflict exists for individual when their behavior will result in outcomes that are mutually exclusive or have compatible elements, sama ada negatif ataupun positif. And then cognitive conflict refers to any discord in our mind causes by psychological distress. Okay, so sebenarnya konflik yang berlaku dekat individual level ni can lead to interpersonal conflict. Dia berkait daripada kita tak puas dengan diri sendiri dan kita bring to another people. Okay, so cognitive conflict ni may include the belief, values and opinions to confront each other. Okay. Okay, so there are 3 patterns of conflict at individual level. Ada 3 pattern kalau dekat individual level ni. Pattern pertama adalah approach conflict. So approach conflict ni referring to a situation in which a person must choose between 2 or more alternative and they all have negative outcome. Okay, approach ni kita ada lebih daripada 2 pilihan, 2 or more alternative and then all the options are negative outcome. For example, employees may be threatened with punishment in the form of demotion unless they do something they dislike, spend much time travelling on their job, for example. Okay, so approach conflict ni dia berlaku bila kita terpaksa pilih. Kita kena juga pilih antara 2 atau lebih pilihan, di mana pilihan kita ada semua pilihan yang negatif. Okay, sama ada dibuang kerja ataupun diturunkan pangkat. Mana satu kita nak? Dua-dua negatif. Okay, so kita kena pilih mana satu. Salah satu terpaksa juga pilih. Okay, lagi satu, the next option is avoidance conflict. So avoidance conflict ni referring to, salah ni sebenarnya. Approach conflict ni, alamak. Terbalik ni. Hold on Ni salah ni. Approach conflict ni, turun pangkat is better option. Okay, so approach conflict ni dia sebenarnya merujuk kepada Salah, macam mana lecture note saya salah ni? This one positive. Okay, approach. Okay, so approach conflict ni is actually tadi delete balik yang saya bagi tahu tadi. Approach conflict ni referring to a situation in which a person must choose between two or more alternative and they all have positive outcome. Naik positive outcome, contohnya pilih naik pangkat atau naik gaji. Contohnya. You all kena pilih satu, naik pangkat ataupun naik gaji. Mana satu? Okay? Nanti pilih apa? Turun pangkat, naik gaji. Okay, so itu contoh approach. Maksudnya you means that you have to choose one between two option in which these two options has positive outcome. Dua-dua ada positif, tapi you kena pilih satu. So ini sebenarnya pilihan yang senang lah kalau yang approach ni. Yang susah sikit this one lah, avoidance conflict, in which it is referring to a situation in which a person must choose between two or more alternative in which they are all have negative outcome. So ni yang saya cakap tadi. So for example, sama ada nak diturunkan pangkat ataupun ditransfer contohnya. Turun pangkat ataupun transfer, ataupun turun pangkat atau dibuang. Mana satu? Dua-dua negatif but you have to pick one. Okay? And the next one, approach avoidance conflict. Transfer is better. But the location might be far from your family. Okay? But depending on your option that you have lah. So next one is approach avoidance conflict, in which it is referring to a situation in which a person must decide whether to do something that had both positive and negative outcome. Satu benda you all kena buat tapi dia ada dua outcome. Sama ada dia may lead to negative or positive. For example, being offered a good job in a bad location. Being promoted but you have to transfer to another location. Itu contoh. Ada satu benda you all kena buat tapi benda ni ada dua-dua, positive and negative outcome. Okay? Clear with the differences between approach, avoidance, and approach avoidance conflict. Okay? Okay. Thank you, Louis. Okay, so next one, conflict at group level. Ini senang je lah. So intra-group conflict, also known as intra-department conflict. Selalu berlaku naik pangkat kena transfer. Yes, most of the time. Jarang yang you all naik pangkat tapi maintain at similar location. Okay. So refers to conflict among members of a group or between two or more subgroups within a group in connection with its goals, tasks, and procedures. And then such a conflict may also occur as a result of incompatibility or disagreements between some or all members of a group and its leaders. Okay, and then next one is intergroup conflict, also known as interdepartmental conflict. Okay, refers to conflict between two or more units or group within the organization, conflict between line and staff, production and marketing, HQ and field staff are example of this conflict. And a special type of intergroup conflict is between labor and management. Okay, saja nak tanya. When you've been so-called as an HR officer, regardless of the position you are in the organization, either as a general employee, either as a supervisor, either as the exec or junior exec, when you so-called as an HR staff, which party that you should present? The management employee, the managerial group, or the labor group? Mana group mana yang you present? Raymond dah jawab lah, laju. Yes, you should present your managerial group. Walaupun you adalah secretary ataupun kerani di jabatan HR. You should present the managerial. You should be a representative for your manager. So for your employer, the employer side. So that's why anybody that works that is located or positioned under HR office, they cannot involve in employee union. Tak boleh. Okay. Betul tak? Nabiatul Adawiyah Hatim, betul? Tak boleh masuk kan? Ni untuk union lah Okay. HR pro to union. Dia not really pro. Dia bukan pro, but the responsibility. Okay, the responsibility of an HR officer. We have to, the pro towards union. Oh sorry, terbalik tadi. Pro to union. Adalah, but the responsibility of when you become an HR officer, you have to fulfill the responsibility towards your employer. Dia terpaksa, dia kena jadi ataupun terpaksa jadi representative for the employer even though you are pro towards union. Okay? Okay, so intergroup conflict ni dah settle. Okay, so conflict at organizational level refers to the conflict which occurs at the level of the entire organization. Ni the higher level lah So it is of two types which include intra-organizational conflict, inter-organizational conflict. So ini biasalah sama ada dalam ataupun luar, sistem ataupun between competitors. Okay, so organizations belonging to same industry may indulge in unethical practices and unhealthy competition because of inter-organizational conflict. Boleh tak rest 5 minit, boleh tak? Saya rasa screen tekak dah. 5 minutes. Boleh?
Boleh, Doktor.
Okay, see you in 5 minutes.
Boleh buat, take your time.
Thank you. Okey, dah. Dah mengopi dan kau tengah minum lagi? Mana hilang semua dah.
Doktor sambil-sambil ngopi.
Okey. Saya sempat habiskan nasi sebungkus. Okey. Okey, so thank you guys. Dah mana ni? Okey, dah. Okey. Kalau ada kopi pun minumlah kat sebelah sebab saya tahu 3 hours straight ni susah. Okay, if necessary, we will do extra class. Kalau you all nak lah kalau nak you all arrange, bagi tahu masa, insyaAllah kita arrange extra class. Okay, khusus ni tak adalah susah macam kelas statistik or research method. Tapi kalau you need extra class, just let me know. Okay. Okay, next one. Okay, interconnection between unit of analysis. Ini sebenarnya high level sikit lah kalau you all tengok example by Natalie Zufli, conflict and level of analysis. Sebenarnya nanti later on you all try search this one untuk tengok the interconnection. Nanti kalau saya ada case ni nanti saya akan share, ataupun the Gulf War in 1991. Saya ada attachment this one ni, nanti saya akan share. Okay, to see the interconnection between the different unit of analysis, starting from how the individual sebenarnya boleh lead to the group conflict, daripada group conflict boleh lead kepada organizational conflict, country conflict, international conflict and so on. Okay, sama macam dalam Gulf War ni. Okay, dia start disebabkan leader dia je, leader dulu yang bermasalah. Okay, leader tu yang ada isu dan dia bring to the group, dan lastly dia result dekat international or armed conflict. Okay, and then how can we determine the context conflict? Okay, so tadi kalau dalam assignment tadi saya untuk assignment group kedua saya ada sebut berkenaan conflict assessment. Okay, so conflict assessment ni kita akan kenal pasti siapakah pihak-pihak yang terbabit dalam konflik, apakah niat ataupun goal matlamat bagi setiap pihak yang berkonflik, dan juga kita akan kenal pasti faktor yang mempengaruhi konflik, dinamik konflik, dan kita boleh kenal pasti kaedah terbaik untuk kita selesaikan konflik tersebut. Okay, so salah satu intention of this class, rather than just to train you to become a mediator within your organization, within at your workplace or in your daily life, ada juga mungkin some of you are interested to be an expert in the conflict resolution or peace study. Contoh you are interested to be a certified or expert in mediation contohnya. Sebab kita tak offer kat UPM lah, tapi ada khusus yang you all boleh attend untuk to become the certified mediator. Certified mediator ni banyak sama ada it is related to family issues, mediation untuk community issues, ataupun mediation untuk international issues, mediator untuk commercial or construction industry contohnya. Dia ada area-area dia tertentu untuk to become the mediator ni. Okay, ni sebenarnya dia membuka ruang kerjaya jugalah untuk sesiapa yang berminat. Okay, so ini adalah salah satu model later on. Salah satu bukan the only one, tapi ada lagi model lain, tapi salah satunya kita boleh gunakan conflict mapping ni. Okay, so dalam conflict mapping ni apa yang kita akan identify adalah first the conflict profile. Conflict profile ni it is related to what is the context that shapes the conflict. Apakah situasi sebenarnya yang menyebabkan konflik tu berlaku, shape yang membentuk konflik tu. So is there any history of conflict? Maksudnya sebelum ni ada tak sejarah konflik kedua-dua pihak ni berlakunya konflik antara A dengan B. Sebelum ni ada sejarah tak yang diorang ni pernah bergaduh contohnya. Kalau ada, bila, and then how many people killed or displaced, who is targeted, methods of violence, where. So bila let's say dia ada sejarah, then kita akan kenal pasti this element. Apa sebenarnya yang berkaitan tu, apa lagi konteks dia. Okay, sama bila mana doktor mengenal pasti sejarah penyakit pesakit dia tu. Okay, kita akan cuba identify. And then what political, economic, social, environmental institutions and structures have shaped conflict. So kita tengok juga elemen-elemen ni, sebab setengah konflik tu dia berlaku disebabkan structure or environment or political issue dekat country tu. Okay, so for example, elections, reform processes, economic growth, inequality, employment, social groups and composition, demographic and resource exploitation. And last time kalau kita sentuh isu berkenaan nur sajat contohnya. Kenapa konflik berkenaan dengan nur sajat tu berlaku? Kenapa dia perlu pergi ke Thailand? Kenapa dia lastly perlu migrate ke Australia, right? Right now, right? Australia ke New Zealand Saya terlupa. Anybody remember?
Australia.
Australia. So kenapa isu tu berlaku untuk sajat? Root cause of conflict is the cognitive. Possible, tapi ada juga. Tapi kalau isu sajat ni, kenapa? Mungkin untuk dia, saya tak ada, I'm not a pro towards LGBT no saya tak. Cuma when we talk about conflict ni, we look at from all perspective, all possible perspective. Okay, from the Malaysia government perspective, in which LGBT ni still unacceptable lah in Malaysia. Okay, walaupun we are promoting equality, tapi equality tu macam saya kata tadi, macam sama macam Azizul cakap tadi, dia ada tempat dia. Okay, so macam kes sajat ni, because he is a Muslim. Okay, so in Muslim it is not acceptable for you to change your gender through any means. So then and then it is unacceptable in Malaysia community. So that's why he has to go to Thailand. Start dengan Thailand, lari kepada ke Thailand. Okay, so sebenarnya dia melibatkan firstly akan melibatkan the whole Malaysian system lah sebenarnya. Human right, okay, yeah. Kalau in terms of sebab yang fight for him is UNCHR, right? United Nations tu. Yes, he claimed for human right lah. But human right in terms of the acts, the procedure, the policies and so on, it depends on countries. Some countries does not rectify certain human rights policy. Kita tak comply dengan kesemua human rights policy. Kita respect the human rights, but ada limitation, with some limitation. Okay, itu contoh je. Okay, next one we are going to identify the actors. Actors ni means that the parties involved in the conflict. Who are the actors that influence the conflict? All the parties, either the direct parties or indirect parties to the conflict. So first we identify who are the main actors. For example, the military leaders, commanders of non-state armed groups, criminal groups and so on. Okay. And then after we identify all the main actors, then we identify their interest. Dia nak apa sebenarnya? The tangible or intangible interest. We try to probe for that answer. Okay, and then their goals, their hopes, their fears, their strategies, positions, preferences, worldview, expectations and motivation. Okay, so for example, autonomy, inequality between group, either horizontal inequality, political power, ethno-nationalist and reparation. Okay, and then next we identify what power do they have. Kalau kita kata what power do they have ni, sebenarnya dia akan kuasa sesuatu pihak dalam situasi konflik ni, dia akan menentukan the tendency of that party to win that conflict. Kalau dia ni berada dalam keadaan superior, superior. Kalau contoh Ukraine and Russia. Kita dah tahu dah. Kita dah boleh predict siapa yang akan menang. So for sure pihak yang tahu yang dia akan menang ni, dia tak akan mengaku kalah dalam konflik ni. Dan pihak yang berada dekat inferior ni, yang dia rasa inferior ni, dia yang akan cuba cari jalan supaya konflik tu boleh diselesaikan secara aman. But if the two parties have equal power, for example between US and China, so lain pula approach dia. Okay, and then okay, what power do they have? How do they exert power? What resources or support do they have? Okay, and then are they vulnerable, for example, in terms of local legitimacy through provision of security, power over corrupt justice institutions, weapons and capacity to damage infrastructure. Nuklear ni lah. Senjata nuklear ni, nuclear weapon ni, sama ada South Korea Korea Selatan. Korea Utara, right? Terlupa, Korea Utara kan? North Korea. North Korea. You all ni dengar je saya sebut tadi South Korea. North Korea, Korea Utara. So Korea Utara ni contoh, dia adalah vulnerable. Dia ada nuclear. They claim that they have the nuclear power. So that's why kuasa-kuasa besar dunia pun tak berani. Okay, tak berani nak, walaupun dia adalah negara yang kecil, negara yang paling miskin dalam dunia ni, negara yang paling miskin, tapi kuasa besar pun tak boleh nak ganggu. Okay, because it can vulnerable the other nations. Okay, and then what are the incentive and disincentive for conflict and peace? For example, the benefiting or losing from the war economy, prestige, retribution for historic grievances. Okay, and then what capacities that do they have to effect the context? Who could be considered spoilers? Siapa spoiler sebenarnya? What divides people? Who exercise leaderships and how? For example, in terms of economic beneficiaries or of conflict, criminal groups, opposition leader. Okay, and then what could be considered capacity for peace? Ada tak peluang untuk kita create the harmonious society again? Okay, are there groups calling for non-violence? What connects people across justice line? How do people cooperate? Who exercises leadership for peace and how? Example, civil society, religious authorities, local justice mechanism. Sama macam kalau let's say konflik tu berlaku between kita punya neighborhood. So kemungkinan ahli JKK, jawatan kuasa ketua kampung, will become the party that try to bring peace or mediate the people, the intervening the conflicting parties. NATO last time kita ada Kesatuan Islam Sedunia itu satu contohlah pihak-pihak yang boleh jadi the third party between the conflicting nations. Okay, and then what are the relationship between actor? What are the trends? What is the strategic balance between actors? For example, who is winning? Okay, conflictual, cooperative and business relationship. Sebab ni yang saya kata tadi, who is winning ni sebenarnya dia akan berkait dengan power ni. Who gain more power in that relationship. Dia sama juga dalam institusi keluarga. Kalau kita dengan dalam institusi keluarga, so siapa yang gain more power dalam institusi sesebuah institusi keluarga tu? Okay, dia yang sebenarnya akan ada tendensi yang tinggi untuk win that conflict. Okay, next one we examine what are the causes of conflict. So we try to determine what are the structural causes of the conflict. For example, is it related to unequal land distribution? Kalau antara perebutan harta pusaka, for example, apa yang menyebabkan isu yang menyebabkan berlakunya perbalahan di antara adik-beradik, that has to bring the case to the court. Okay, perebutan harta tapi maksudnya melibatkan pembahagian tanah yang tidak sekata, and then political exclusion, okay, and then poor governance, impunity, lack of state authority. Ini contoh. Okay, and then what are the proximate causes of conflict? Ini yang first ni kita try examine the direct causes yang kita nampak. And then the second one ni, proximate ni, we try to estimate what are the other causes that not directly influenced, but maybe has certain degree of influence to the conflict. Okay, so for example, arms proliferation, illicit criminal networks, emergence of self-defense, non-state armed actors, overspill of conflict from a neighboring country, natural resources discoveries. Ni macam contoh last few years back, kenapa US interested to be in Afghanistan contohnya. Dia adalah sebab-sebab dia kata to resolve the political issue within the country. Tapi the hidden agenda is to get to fight or to get the natural resources of that country. Okay, contoh. So maksudnya when mapping the conflict ni, or when assess the conflict ni, we need to look beyond possibilities. Okay. Okay, next one, dynamics. So dynamics ni, it is related to the changes of the conflict or interest between the conflicting parties through within the time frame. Apa dia punya perubahan niat dia ataupun matlamat dia. Okay, so the first one, what are the current conflict trend? Okay, and then what are the recent changes in behavior? Dia tengok apa perubahan tingkah laku dia. Okay, for example, conflict acts have increased but the number of deaths has decreased. Okay, political violence has intensified around local election. Defense spending has increased. Paramilitaries have started running in local election. Ni contoh. Okay, which factors of the conflict profile, actors and causes reinforce or undermine each other? Which factors balance or mitigate others? For example, horizontal economic and political inequalities can increase the risk of conflict. Uncertainty about succession of the president strengthen party factionalism, cash for disarmament, demobilization and reintegration fuels among arms proliferation. Okay, and then what triggers conflict? For example, election. Bila ada election ni, ada kes yang akan disentuh atau dinaikkan. Okay, dia boleh jadikan dia punya memorandum lah. Memorandum pula dia punya apa panggil kalau dalam political term?
Manifesto.
Manifesto.
Hai.
Jarang terlibat dengan konflik macam jarang terlibat dengan politik ni lah. Manifesto dia. Okay, dia akan jadikan benda tu sebagai isu. Okay, and then economic and environmental shocks, economic crash and assassination. Ni yang berlaku dekat abang kepada Kim Jong-un, for example. Food price increases, a corruption scandal. Tengoklah food price increases ni pun boleh jadi. Kat Malaysia ni banyak berlaku. And last time bila berlaku dekat election sahaja Selangor tak ada air. Last time. Is it kebetulan ataupun terancang? Kalau yang biasalah dekat Selangor ni. Okay. Siapa tadi kat Kelang tadi Rabiatul Adawiyah dengan siapa tadi lagi seorang kat Kelang tadi. Dulu. Sekarang saya rasa isu tu dah tak ada sangat lah. Okay, and then what scenarios can be developed? Okay, for example, best case scenario. Okay, siapa? Rabiatul Adawiyah. Okay, betul kan? Itu salah satu isu yang dimainkan lah. Kalau kat Selangor ni air penting kot. Itu basic ni. Tapi setiap kali nak election je, trend tu akan wujud. So kita dah boleh predict dah. Ada area nak election je, elektrik putus. Okay, ada last time last yang election yang dua kali sebelum ni. 2 kali sebelum ni yang elektrik putus masa pengiraan undi. Yes. Okay, and then best case scenario, a peace agreement is signed quickly and the conflict parties implement a ceasefire. Worst case scenario, local politicians mobilized along ethnic lines in the run up to election and political violence and riots increase where group meets. Ni contoh dia. Ni nanti detail ada lagi. So ni just introduction je dulu regarding the conflict analysis. Okay, so far so good. Baru 32 slide. Saya rasa macam dah panjang betul lah ini. So far so good? Okay, shall we proceed to the next topic?
Need to buy a book for the course, or we can just mainly depends on the slide?
Okay, for the class, and then at your level and master level, I recommend you to have a lot of reading, and then it is not necessarily you go to the bookstore and buy the books. Okay, saya tak adalah mencadangkan macam tu. Sebab nowadays I thought that most of the books you can download from the internet, and then all the readings mostly available in the internet. But if let's say you have time and you have some money to be spent on books, then you are welcome to do so. Okay, in terms of recommended books, I don't say that you should rely 100% on my lecture note, but the proposed books you can find from my slide. Like at the end of the slide, basically I will provide you with the books that I use, and then I will share the books if possible. Nanti later on kalau we can already use the ODL, and then I will share the soft copy of the books lah. Tapi make sure when you read ni, kita bukan hanya read berkenaan dengan konflik. Okay, sebab kita study at the master level ni bukan hanya untuk dapat A, but for the sake of knowledge itself, so that we can apply in our daily life. Let's say when you become a leader, top manager in your organization, so then you can apply appropriate conflict resolution style when you become a leader. To attract your employee. Itu saya punya ni lah, saya punya inspiration sebenarnya. So buku ni sebenarnya saya tak adalah wajibkan you all beli buku mana-mana buku, tak ada. There is no one textbook for the class. I will recommend accordingly, according to lecture lah, according to session, insyaAllah. Okay, Yiling? Kalau you all nak extra reading, then it is your own choice lah, your own decision. Tapi saya sangat suka lah kalau you all, cuma saya tak boleh lah nak kata any specific book, because at this level kita tak ada satu specific buku pun. It is because somehow we want to we want to support the experiential learning as well.
Okay, thanks.
How to effectively do conflict resolution with time constraint and resources constraint. Okay, so within that two constraint, apa nama, Raymond, okay, so rather than somehow depending on the logic, sebab tu kita ni salah satu intention of this class is to embed you, to supply you with all the necessary skills, information related to any specific case, so that when you need to make decision at in the place where almost all resources has been constrained, then you can make a quick decision. Okay. So then, to respond to your question, how to effectively do conflict resolution. Sometimes we cannot resolve of the conflict, but we have to manage. So then we need to have a quick opinion, perspective related to the conflict that we have in mind. Awal dia bila kita tengok dia sesuatu konflik tu, dia dah ada dah. Okay, the pro and cons, what are the possibilities of this conflict? If I make this decision, what are the consequences? What are the pros and the cons? So itu yang kita nak sebenarnya. Dan how to make a quick decision, it depends on the knowledge that you have, and then as well as based on the experience to deal with the people. Sebab tu saya tak ada satu exact answer. If you have experience dealing with the same people, then you already have one procedure on how to deal with this kind of people. Dia tak ada satu rule, tapi dia depends. Kalau let's say kita deal dengan konflik dengan orang yang kita dah tahu dah karakter dia macam mana. For example, bos kita ni, dia sangat strict. Okay, dia sangat strict. Dia kata kalau saya nak kerja saya disiapkan sebelum pukul 5. But if you know how to handle your boss, maksudnya your boss ni kata, bos, saya boleh siapkan, cuma saya tak boleh buat kerja lain selain pada kerja bos. Maksudnya you know on how to negotiate the term with your boss. Dia strict, but you know the way. You know how to handle this kind of people. So then you can make a quick resolution to the conflict. Dia nak suruh you stay, tapi you tahu apa yang slide. But the conflict ni sometimes it's not necessarily can be managed based on the context, content. Kadang-kadang the technical part pun kita kena pandai handle. The whole setting of the conflict. Okay, Raymond. Okay, so anybody else or want to respond to Raymond's question? Saya pun welcome juga. Ada tak? Kita ada berapa minit lagi? 10 minit je lagi, tak sempat lah. Okay, so shall we arrange kalau kita possible lah nanti dalam bulan puasa ke, kita buat lagi satu kelas extra. The UPMET will arrange us 3 classes. Basically 3 classes lah. Maximum 3 classes. Tapi saya sukalah kalau let's say you all nak another session lah at least. So that, sebab banyak juga ni nak present on ni lah. Ni penting untuk assignment ni. Feminist theory and so on ni. Doktor tarik untuk submit assignment bila ya? Okay. All the assignments, the submission ni saya biasanya on before your final exam lah. Okay? Before your final exam. Kalau let's say macam contoh final exam, contoh on 24 April. Kalau boleh on 24th April tu pun accepted lagi. Okay? But for the time being, just kindly share your Dropbox folder lah. Buat masa sekarang ni, share dulu Dropbox folder so saya boleh tengok sama ada betul ke tak ke. Jangan hujung tu baru nak contact doktor, tak dapat nak share. Saya stress, you all pun stress. So bila saya stress, saya jarang respon. Okay? 3 classes meaning we only have 3 classes for the whole semester. We are not having class every week. Yeah. Yes, Yiling. Okay, for PJJ, for distance education, for postgraduate, you are going to have only 3 classes, 3 hours for each session. 3 jam untuk setiap sesi tu. So 3 kelas je. Kalau untuk undergrad lagi lah, 2 sesi je satu semester. So I don't think that it is sufficient lah. Kalau untuk yang in campus, then we have weekly session. Yeah, Yiling.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Nanti insyaAllah kita akan discuss. Yang belakang-belakang tu tak susah sangat, tapi adalah yang part-part dia yang sangat tumis, sangat important, sangat penting. Another thing, one of it is theories and models of conflict management ni. Lepas tu ada yang related to negotiation sikit, negotiation skills, lepas tu dengan mediation. Yang the rest tu yang technical tu tak apa. Okay, boleh tak kita stop kat sini dulu hari ni? If there is any question, if no more question, then we stop. Kalau tak ada, then kalau tak ada soalan kita stop. Kalau ada lagi, let me entertain your question lah.
Okay, one, we can always ask you question in the WhatsApp group, right?
Possible, but kalau boleh, do not expect me to respond immediately, particularly during working hours. Kalau weekdays, I will try my best lah, insyaAllah. Okay, because, but you may post any question. You may post any question there in our group, but I will respond. But hopefully, you do not expect you do not always expect the response to be immediate lah.
Okay, I mean you can just reply us when you are convenient.
Yes.
Sorry on that.
Yes. Okay, sure. Okay, no more question. So thank you so much, guys. So we see in next session. Okay, so take care. Okay, have a nice day and have a nice session onwards. Okay, so take care. Assalamualaikum.
Terima kasih, doktor.
Thank you. Thank you, Prof. Thank you, Dr.